Hello, fellow followers. Welcome back to FanZcene. This is a physical media show, and with me tonight, as always, is Runner and Tom. Welcome, guys. Glad to have you back here on this fine evening, day, night, whatever time it is, maybe. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Doing pretty good. All right, all right. Mine's computer looks like to be a little lagging there. There we go. Finally clicked in on me. Oh man, glad that Runner. How you doing this evening?
Um, I'm okay, I guess. I'll explain why. I have not had the greatest night. I'm getting finals done, which is great. It's finals week. But I was on a stream right before this, and Tom's probably gonna laugh his ass off. But I finally watched. I was on Justin Proper's channel, and we were watching the Star Wars Holiday Special, and I watched it for the first time.
Oh, everybody's got to see it sooner or later.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but like, god damn it! Like when people say it's bad, it's fucking bad. Holy shit! I did not think it'd be that bad.
It can't be that bad. Oh yes, it is.
Yeah, I like because they kept telling me like even Rookie because Rookie was a part of that stream as well, and he was like I only watched like the first 10 minutes and that's it. And I'm like, really? It's that fucking bad? And oh my god, like almost anytime anyone sings in it, fuck, like that is brain damage.
Really, really.
I mean, listen, like we've you may or may not agree with this, but the best part of that fucking holiday special is the animation part.
That's always the Boba Fett part. Animation has
Yeah.
always been the best part of
Yeah, like that
the
part
show.
wasn't too see that part wasn't too bad. Like that actually kind of got me engaged. And there was someone in the chat, funny enough, like literally said like, "Oh, it's got this heavy metal-esque animation." I'm like, "Do not compare this to heavy metal." I'm like, "Please don't compare this to heavy metal." And then I think it was the Sentinel. I think most people already know who he is. He's in the chats. Cool dude. He said this is soft metal animation. When he's oh my god, I was dying laughing when he said that. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it's required viewing eventually. But let's say hail to the chat real quick. Who we got here? We got Random Brad. He says, "Good vibe, hails. Welcome, Random Brad. Hail, Brian Barth. Yeah, what that's a bit of surprising news there, Dan Blackroyd. Yeah,
I was literally about to say another thing that kind of bummed me out was the recent announcement that James Gunn made. Complete fucking mistake.
We'll see.
Here's the thing about that Grace Randolph shit, and that's actually where I thought you were going to before you got into the Star Wars special thing. Was you were going to be like, I cried because of Henry Cavill.
I didn't like cry, but I was just like,
this clearly just happened. Like folks aren't knowing. Like, duh, they said they had a meeting, whatever it was. They didn't see eye to eye on it, and they've decided to go their separate ways. Same thing with the whole Patty Jenkins thing. I think Gal Gadot's probably out too. Then, if Henry Cavill's not saved, nobody's fucking saved. I've already been hearing that Ben Affleck probably wasn't coming back to begin with, so I don't know.
See, well, here's
at this
the thing.
point, nobody knew nothing until recently, and everything was kind of up in the air still. So at this point, we just know that there's going to pretty much be a complete reboot, not just a reset, but a reboot.
I say it like this, like I was trying to explain to Runner, is that I see it as if a new football coach is taking over a team, and what is one of the things they usually do? They usually start weeding out the old players from the old regime and start putting in the new players. That's the way I see it. So, of course, they met with them, and it sucks. I think Henry Cavill should still be Superman, but at the same time, I kind of interested in to see what they do.
Well, this makes sense why now Jason Momoa is going to be clearly going to be Lobo.
Oh, yeah,
Lobo.
Yeah,
he's
Lobo.
not going to be Aquaman no more.
Yeah, Lobo. Yeah. But we'll see how that all shakes out. And hail Tim Hayes. Welcome. Glad you're here.
Here's the thing. Let me say something about
deleted scenes.
Like most people, like Tom, we can fight about this all day. I'm a Snyder fan. here's the thing. I was sort of okay at this point if they were gonna move on from that, but like completely like getting rid of Cavill for the role is just complete fucking mistake. Like complete fucking mistake.
At the
Like,
same time, I understand it. If you're going to start fresh, you're going to start fresh.
Yeah.
see, like if you're gonna
And that
start
means
fresh,
James Gunn's
fine.
going to kill his babies too at this in this process. So
It's true. Welcome, Tyrell72, RC Anderson. Welcome. Yes, Star Wars. I love the original Star Wars, but the Christmas holiday special is bad. Welcome, Cool Gamer. Doug 1985. Glad you're here. Make sure I get everybody real quick. And Joey, welcome. Yeah, I hope we don't get another Ryan Johnson type Superman. I don't know. I like James Gunn. I'm interested to see what he does. I personally, I would have preferred Henry Cavill to stay on as Superman, but he does say he wants a younger, and I don't even think 39 is that old for Superman.
no, but they did
we'll
say
see.
early on, even like I heard that they were interested in getting Cavill back, and that's what Zaslav kind of wanted. But now it sounds like that's not fitting in with what James Gunn wants to do. And at that same time, he's got the right now to basically start afresh. And if I were him, chances are I probably would too. After I think about it longer, I probably would too, because you got to have somebody who's going to be able to do this for the long haul, right? Same thing with everybody else. So, I mean, you win some, you lose some in this case. That's the way I'm looking at it. Like, I think we're just going to have to wait and see. Like you said, it's going to be an interesting
It's going to be interesting. And to be honest with you, James Gunn also did say that him and Henry Cavill did have a great meeting, and that they've talked about possibly working on other things. He did say that. So who knows? Maybe he has something else in mind.
And that was what I was
Cavill.
initially told too, was that some of these actors will return, some of them won't, some of them might be in different parts. They didn't know. And that's kind of where things were. And that's why I kept saying nobody knows shit right now. So even though people may be saying Grace Randolph was right, she's no more right than some of these other scoopers who were saying that Superman was in Black Adam 2 until he actually was in fucking Black Adam 2 in September.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I kept telling people, like when all through June, July, previous to that, they're like, oh, I know he's in the movie. I know. No, you don't, because he's not.
Yeah.
He's not in the fucking movie. I don't know where you're getting the shit. I said, I heard there's a place for him. They have a placeholder, but he's not in the movie yet. They want to talk to him. They haven't talked to him yet. In September, it all came pretty quick. So, and it happened. And then in October, he said, like, yeah, the idea was then up until this moment. So,
yeah, I do agree, though, that with this is what kind of makes people like get on WBs, because he did announce he was coming back, and then but the thing is, like we said, we didn't know the whole details. I
think that's a bad move.
Yeah. That makes them look bad, but I can understand. I can see where they're coming at. Is what I'm saying. Is like, yes, it does upset me. It does make me mad that Henry Cavill doesn't come, but I can see where they're coming from and how they want to start fresh. And I think everything is on the table, and if it goes, it goes. So I don't know. We shall see.
Yeah. So basically, Aquaman and Flash are going to be the last hoorah for this crew. So
for this crew. But we'll see. But speaking on a lighter note,
movies,
on movies. Speaking of Superman, the originals 5 movie 4K set.
I'm excited about that.
That is what I'm excited about. So
that does sound pretty cool.
The Christopher Reeve 4K box set. Superman. That's Superman to me. Always will be. I'm down with that. I'll watch them multiple times, and I'm looking forward to that. And that was really about it. And we did, like, speaking of Warner Brothers, so many people have been trying to say that Warner Brothers doesn't like physical media, but it looks to me like they have big plans for their physical media coming in the next year for their 100th anniversary. Lots of movies, lots of shows. Check out their little trailer on their website, on the YouTube channel, the 100 Years of Warner Brothers. There's a lot of speculation that can be gained from seeing what movies and shows they show, and that may be getting a new 4K or Blu-ray release. So that's kind of exciting news.
But so there's like a list somewhere?
No, okay. So we talked about it earlier on the 4K for you. Warner Brothers. is really is in celebration of their 100 years. They're going to be releasing lots of new movies and TV shows on Blu-rays and some 4K. That was we got the Superman confirmation, which we all knew was coming. Exorcist, Enter the Dragon, but they have a trailer that we watched earlier on. It's on the Warner Brothers Pictures YouTube, where they show they go over their years. If you watch that, that goes along with the sort of the announcement of the physical media. You can look through there and see some of the movies they show in there that may be getting some new upgrades and new 4Ks. They show clips from Freddy versus Jason. We could be getting the Freddy movies and Nightmare on Elm Street movies. They showed Austin Powers, Bodyguard, Ben-Hur, North by Northwest. So many great movies that looks like they might be getting some new physical media releases.
And a lot of them already, I was just say a lot of them are either recent or have already gotten 4K releases, and some of them are ones that have been heavily rumored or may even come up tonight. So to me, I have a feeling that we can. I'm not going to say, oh, those are guaranteed. We're going to get those in 4K. Not saying that.
Not saying that.
I just think there's a good chance of some of those at least.
Yeah.
And we discussed a little bit of that earlier on 4K for you. So
yeah, we did. So, but that's pretty exciting because if some of those do come to pass, which we did get some confirmation on a lot of them, but if some of the ones we theorize come to pass, that's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. And that's really about it for the latest releases. And yeah, our wallets are in trouble big time. Style section, big time. Yeah. 2023 is shaping up to be a pretty decent year for releases. So
far.
Yeah.
Listen, like the one thing I'll say about the Warner Brother physical media stuff, just make better artwork, please, for the covers.
Yeah.
God, they like the
just use the original poster art.
Okay, this is a little bit of something that people didn't get, at least got buried in the Henry Cavill news. Asked, is it an origin movie? No way. Could Ben Affleck direct? Met with Ben yesterday precisely because he wants to direct and we want him to direct. We just have to find the right project.
See, here's the thing. If you're announcing that Henry Cavill's not going to be Superman, I have very little faith in them bringing Ben Affleck back as Batman.
I'll tell you right now. If you go back and Ben Affleck said Batman damn near killed him. And he didn't. That's one of the reasons that they gave for why he dropped out of the Batman. So I think he just wants to direct. I really do think he just wants to direct.
Yeah, he's getting it up in age, and there's a lot going on there, I've heard. So we'll have to see.
Yeah. But that, and before we get into all this, and I don't know if you guys are tired of hearing us talking about this, there's one more thing I want to talk about before we start showing our picks here. One last time, Scream 6, The Last Ghostface. What are your guys' thoughts on this brilliant movie?
I mean, they didn't show much. It was just a fucking train. That's it. Exactly. That's literally how I felt the entire time.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like you're revealing a teaser. Like here's the thing. I don't want to shit on it because I hated the last movie, but like you could have at least came up with a cool trailer. Like I'm being nice. I shouldn't be nice, but I am.
I wouldn't. Don't be nice to these people. I don't know if you guys heard or saw a couple earlier in this month or last month. The same fucking people that run Scream are going to do the Escape from New York remake.
That's fucking terrible.
Yeah. So I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt on anything. And this teaser trailer for 6 was garbage. It was just a big old thing to say, look at all these cool people in these costumes. And we got a Jason Takes Manhattan reference. And we got a reference to Ready or Not, the movie we made before this. And oh yeah, there's Ghostface in our new cast.
I'll be honest with you. I wasn't even a big fan of Ready or Not.
No.
I know some people liked it. I watched it and I was like, yeah, it's okay. It's the best thing those directors have ever made compared to Scream 5.
I gave them the benefit of the doubt when I was seeing the trailers for Scream 5, because Scream 5, believe it or not, the trailers looked really good. The trailers
Yeah,
sold
they
me.
weren't bad. Like
And then
I
you
was like,
see the movie, and it's Scream Awakens. So
yeah,
yeah,
and then
it's
the one,
bad.
yeah, the one coming up. I mean, the whole idea of, you know, Scream being taken place like in a big city like this, it's like, I don't know. I after where the last movie started, like I can see this not going well at all.
It's a rush production. They actually made money, like we talked about. They actually made money on Scream 5. They
Yeah.
did.
Well, that's
So
because it's a low budget film.
yeah, I mean, it was just, let's be honest, they were capitalizing off of Halloween 2018. So they rushed this. They did
Came
Scream
out at
5.
the right time and all that
Yeah,
business.
it came out at the right time and it made money. Uh, I would say the reception has been mixed amongst a lot of people. It's split, like
If they would have brought
most
Scream
modern
5
movies.
out, or Scream the Scream Awakens, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah, Scream
because I hate
Awakens.
the fucking title. I think it's stupid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If they would have released it in October the year before, it wouldn't have done as well. The only reason that movie did as well as it did is because it was released right after Spider-Man No Way Home, and people weren't afraid to go to the theater anymore.
yep.
Yeah.
And then it had to have like a weekend or two that played really, 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 really well, made its money back, and they rushed this motherfucker into production. Remember Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Secret of the Ooze?
Yeah.
Same thing. Got rushed into production. Everything that's wrong with that movie can be chalked up to A, being rushed into production, and B, parents are pissed because this first movie's too dark. Oh shit, what do we do?
Difference
Okay,
is
well,
Secret of the Use is actually kind of good.
it is, but it was
It
rushed
is.
into production. Same thing with like some of these other sequels. Get to the worst of the horror film sequels. They were usually the ones where they were running out of steam and they were rushing these fuckers out there just because they're like, well, we got to bank on this thing before this fucker crashes into the ground.
Yep.
What happens when you usually get to New York or space?
That's usually one of the worst of the bunch. Big time. Yeah.
That's generally your death now.
Yep. I mean, if that's like, what do we do after Scream 5 and we've revitalized this franchise? We take it to New York.
It's either goes to New York or space. And usually Canada's sitting in for New York.
Yep. And you get like 5 minutes
Friday, didn't Candyman, didn't that go to New York? Or was that Chicago?
Candyman went to New Orleans.
Or New Orleans, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well,
I talking about the new Candyman?
No, one of them I thought went in the city.
That was, they went to New Orleans in the third one. That's the city.
Was that the city though? Okay.
Yeah, they went into the city in New Orleans. But it was always in the city.
I've only seen the first Candyman.
That's true.
Yeah, Candyman was always in the city.
That's true. Then, well, of course, before going to space, Leprechaun went to Vegas, but that one made sense.
Yeah, that was fun though. But no, seriously, if they go to New York or space, that's when you know it's hood. Yeah. That's when you know
which
it's
is
bad.
Like New York adjacent if it's not LA.
And I was kind of pissed off when I saw it was Variety or Deadline reported that they've been tapped to try to bring back Escape from New York.
Oh,
I fucking hate that so much. I remember hearing that, and it's like it's gonna be by 20th Century Studios, which is basically Disney. So
it is Disney.
Yeah. And here's the thing that trips me up is like Tom could probably better explain this than me because I don't fucking understand it. The whole rights thing. It's like I think like Escape from New York, from my recollection, is like MGM right now, and Escape from LA is Paramount, and now this new one is 20th Century Fox.
Well, that's because Embassy had the rights to the original, and they went out of business.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I knew
the first movie roamed around for a while. Actually, it was under New Line for a while too.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, I had a VHS tape back in the day that New Line released that had a making of it. It was like the first time it had been released since it first came out. Oh. That was the first version I ever had of it.
Nice.
And like Escape from LA was like Paramount, pretty sure.
Agree, RC Anderson.
Yeah, exactly.
Agreed.
It's like if you don't have Carpenter or Russell, it's like what the fuck's the point?
No, I want the third one. I want the Escape from Earth.
Yeah, I want that one.
I want to.
Now you can do it.
You know, honestly, I want to escape from Chicago. That'd be amazing. Like that's
See,
just a
the thing
At
is,
this point, you might actually have to.
yeah,
well, yeah, exactly. Like that's like a personal thing because I live near Chicago. Like just give me
Exactly.
another Kurt Russell escape movie and call it Escape from Chicago. I would instantly go see it and
Yeah.
let John Carpenter
yeah.
direct it. I know he
Well,
doesn't
John
direct anymore,
Carpenter
but
is
let him do it.
supposedly part of this new Escape from, just like he was with Halloween. He's basically
They
doing
say
like
that
that.
shit,
It's
but essentially
basically
he's
he's sitting there
Yeah.
taking a
producing.
check, making
Yeah.
music.
He's like,
So,
this is what I do when these movies happen. I put my hand out and they put a check in it.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see. I mean, some people might think that as like, but I get it why he does it, because he was screwed so many years for all of his movies. When he made movies, how they screwed him out of money each time. So I get that he was like, oh, they're going to remake the movie, I'll just take the money and make the music, which is great. That's fine. I'm glad he does that. But the people remaking his movies are making shit movies. They're just making shit movies. So that's what sucks about it. But with all
So
that
yeah,
being,
let's.
Like here's the
yeah,
thing. Imagine Escape from Chicago and it's Snake Plissken like shooting down all the fucking people who like, cause all the shootings that happen in Chicago. That'd be amazing. That'd be fucking great.
but with all that being said, Runner, what do you got for us for your first pick of the night?
All right, my first pick of the night. I guess I'll save the one we're all
It's
about
your
to show
first
later.
pick
I
of
just
the night.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Shoo-doo,
Ba-doo,
shoo-be-doo.
ba-doo,
Go ahead.
ba-doo-doo-doo-doo.
I'll stop.
all right. I just watched this movie. It's
Debbie
pretty.
Does Dallas.
Oh my god! Shut the fuck up.
It'll never be Debbie Does Dallas. He doesn't have enough class.
I know.
You may or may not have seen this movie. I know Greg's not a big fan of Tom Cruise, but it's a Tom Cruise movie. It's a sci-fi movie. It's not Edge of Tomorrow, and it also stars Morgan Freeman. Oblivion.
I'm Morgan Freeman. I've never seen
Terrible
it.
Morgan Freeman impression.
Hey, I'm a white guy. Like, I'm gonna be able to do Morgan Freeman.
Hey, I've heard some white people like make a good Morgan Freeman impression. Doesn't matter.
I've never seen
Um,
it. I have no idea what it's about. So.
It was at that moment that Rona
I'll
had realized he fucked up.
here's the thing: you would probably have to see the movie because, it's interesting. Honestly, I think I watched part of it one day and then I like finished the rest of it today. It's it's an interesting concept. It's like a post kind of apocalyptic world type of movie. There's like a lot of futuristic tech, really cool tech, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain this movie really all that much.
I don't know how to explain it. It's just it's a
No,
futuristic movie with Tom Cruise, and he does a really cool action sequence.
it's not some of the best action, but it's good. It's enjoyable. It's directed by the same guy that did Top Gun Maverick.
I've honestly, I've never. I mean, I think I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. I have no idea what it's about. But I know there's people in the chat, Random Brad and Tyrell72 said they really love it. So I
Yeah,
take them guys have good taste. So
yeah. It's also was it the same guy who directed Tron Legacy as well?
Tron Legacy is an underrated movie.
I remember seeing that like a while ago. I don't remember it very well though. I remember it being pretty good.
So the same guy that directed Top Gun Maverick did Tron Legacy.
Yeah.
I did not know
I
that.
forget his name. Like his first name's Joseph. I forget his last name.
Hmm.
But he directed Oblivion. And you can I mean it's got those visuals honestly. Like part of this here's the thing, part of this movie I think that this is based on a graphic novel, but it feels very much like a video game. And I kind of like that, like especially the drones. Like the drones look like they're from the game Portal. I shit you not. Like they're
I
even
don't speak game, so
I know you're lame. It's okay. No, I'm kidding.
All right, well,
But like, if you want to watch a sci-fi flick, like of crazy shit, drones, whatnot, yeah, it's a pretty good movie.
cool.
That's his name.
Yeah, I've never seen. Yeah, Joseph Kosinski. I didn't know that. I do like Tron Legacy. I do. I think that is a good movie.
Yeah, no, guy.
I still prefer the original Tron, but I thought Legacy wasn't too bad. All right, so I get me and Tom can't really talk on it, so let's move on to you, Tom. What do you got for your first pick of the night?
Oh, sorry, I just retweeted something from Films at Home. My bad. He said, "Should I tell you guys what I just did?"
Go ahead, do it.
I nothing personal against this guy, but anyway, he's been touting for a while that Zaslav's going to do nothing but kill home media. But we learned earlier from the announcement that's not true. Anyway, he said, and I agree. I'm disappointed about Henry Cavill, but you know what? At this point, if you're going to go forward fresh, go fresh. Exactly. He says, "I can't stand this universe building BS. The Batman was so great. Just do Man of Steel like that." So I retweeted it with, "No, the Batman was trash. Do it just like that is what got us here in the first fucking place."
Exactly.
Because they said hey, Zach, you know Batman Begins, right? Yeah, do Superman just like that. And that's exactly how it all happened.
Yep.
So sorry, I had to have that moment.
Okay,
where should I begin? Cool. Where should I begin? I have nothing to really go off of Oblivion that I can think of offhand.
Neither
yes, actually I do. Because you said, I remember now, Morgan Freeman is a part of this. So yeah. I have a Morgan Freeman film here tonight.
Oh, there you go.
This is the story of a spoiled, rotten prince who became a well-known thief named Robin Hood, formerly Robin of Locksley. And this is the Arrow release of
that is a
Robin
beautiful
Hood.
cover.
And it is a nice really cover. And inside you get a really nice booklet with full color pages. I can't do that no more.
I would die for you.
We'll get to that in just a moment here. That's actually ironic.
That song just keeps popping in my head now.
You get the two-sided poster.
Oh, I like that.
OG art on the other side.
I haven't bought Arrow in forever. I miss those.
And inside, of course, you also get lobby cards and another little booklet as well inside the case.
Nice.
And I, of course, have the classic art on the disc since we have the other art on the outside. The movie holds up very well. This scan is very well done. As far as the Bryan Adams, like, this thing is chock full of fucking special features. Except, funnily enough, I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch the music video for the song you just sang, right?
That's what I was about to ask you.
They got a live performance of it. I'm like, what the fuck? Where's the video?
That's what I was going to ask.
And I'm like, oh, well, you know, Warner Brothers, Bryan Adams was a Warner artist, I think at the time, maybe, if not. But I'm like, regardless, there's got to be a fucking music video, right? You'd think that thing would have been on MTV 24/7, considering how big this, like, for those who may not know, I do that song that, you know, Everything I Do it for You was like the Celine Dion song of its time when it came.
Yeah.
It was everywhere. And I did some looking. They must have never done an official video that's attached to the movie.
Now, see, this is what gets me. This is like a Mandela effect with me. All right. Because I vividly remember seeing a music video.
I looked. There's a music video, but all it is just like Bryan Adams' black and white live performance.
Black and white. I've seen that music video because I've went searching for the music video. I vividly remember seeing a music video with Bryan Adams. It starts with it shot on the woods with him in the woods. He's up in the tree and he pulls back the bow, and it's the Bryan Adams, and it's the music video with intercut with scenes of the movie with him singing.
Evidently, that version is nobody on YouTube has it. I looked and scoured. I'm like,
see,
the only version is this black and white version with no clips from the movie at all.
That messes me up because I don't really believe a lot in that Mandela effect stuff, but this is like, I vividly remember seeing that when that movie came out. And matter of fact, I think I had it on a
People have done
DVD.
fan versions of them.
Maybe
But the official release of the between Vivo and everywhere else I've looked, I cannot find an actual music video that has scenes from the movie. It's probably the same shit you're talking about, where they just intercut scenes into that video.
Yeah,
But you would think that somebody would have taped it off of MTV or VH1.
something somewhere, because I remember
all the
it.
versions that are out there, they're just that version of the video. So, which is weird. But yes, the movie does hold up pretty well. I mean, as far as like whether or not you like Robin Hood or not, like I grew up on this version here, of course.
See,
like many in my generation, they grew up on the original Disney.
No, that was my Robin Hood back.
Rusty Shackelford remembers it, but go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I just
maybe I just somebody didn't. I just can't believe that nobody would have loaded it up to fucking YouTube.
Yeah.
But anyhow,
sorry about
so
that.
Yeah, when I saw this movie when I was younger, I just didn't really care for it. I remember not liking it all that much. I don't know what it was about it that I didn't like. I can't put my finger on it. But I loved the shit out of this movie when I watched it the other night.
Really?
Like I fell in love with this movie. Like just unabashedly. Like I know it is the most probably asinine take on Robin Hood. I know it creates characters and amalgamizes characters.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, if you actually do any research on Robin Hood, none of them are really close to even remotely fucking accurate to what some people consider what could be the 2 or 3 possibilities of the actual Robin Hood in history. So in that respect, fuck it, who cares? It's just a fucking, fantasy story. And in that respect, this movie delivers in my opinion.
Yeah.
This is the kind of movie that I was talking about with like Dick Tracy recently.
Mm-hmm.
When it came out, it was a big deal. I remember when it came out on video, it was a big deal. Even though then I didn't appreciate it for what it was, now I do. And I don't see it even with nostalgic eyes. Like I love Rickman's performance. I watched the director's cut up front. And even still, I don't think that would have changed my opinion back then because it's only 7 measly minutes.
Yeah, it's not much difference.
No, there's nothing really. I mean, there's a few random things in it, but nothing that like completely changes the movie overall except for the revelation of who the witch actually is, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm. I love
Kevin Costner's all 8 of them.
I know.
That's again taking me back to Dick Tracy. If anything, the movie's biggest downfall isn't even that big of a deal, and that is Kevin Costner as Robin Hood. Why? Because he's fine as Robin Hood.
Yeah. He just doesn't have the accent.
He just doesn't have the right accent.
And unlike that's where the some joke, of Robin Hood's, I have a British accent.
It's not like Christian Slater's is much fucking better.
Yeah, Christian Slater's just as bad, so it works at their brothers. So
right. Especially when you got Alan Rickman chewing up the fucking scenery. Yeah.
Yes. Alan Rickman, man. That mother could still every movie he was in. His performance is amazing in that film. So I love it.
I want to tell you something about the Robin Hood movie that Tom showed. It's one of the movies I've wanted to see for a long time, and I still haven't gotten to it.
It's good, but don't expect like some Oscar epic or anything. It is really like borderline fucking.
It's cheesy,
action cheesy movie, but it's well done.
Yeah,
right. Like it's kind of on that cusp of we put some money into this. Is it gonna knock your socks off and win a bunch of Oscars? No. But is it going to entertain the fuck out of you for 2 hours? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Not even 2 hours, but yeah. And it is very, very entertaining. Like for some, I don't know what, maybe I was in the wrong fucking state of mind, mood. Because I remember being so fucking jazzed when this movie came out on video. And it's funny because we're talking about this at Christmas, because I remember so vividly when it came out at Christmas.
Really?
On video. And I was so jazzed and I was waiting to see the movie, because it was still in that era where we only had the really small theater. So we were lucky to go see movies half the time, unless it was something I really begged my mom to go see before we got the multiplex nearby. So even then, movies would take 3-4 months to get there. So my mom was usually like, well, just wait till it comes to fucking video. In 2 months, it'll be on video. And she was right most of the time. 2-3 months usually was all it took. So I don't know what it was at the time. I think I even had some of the toys and shit, to be honest with you. I know I had the bubblegum cards.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
And I
I
mean, all
think
my
I might have one of
friends
the
liked it and
toys.
shit. I just couldn't understand back then. I was just like, and so it was a movie I never revisited. I've never had a DVD of it. I don't think I have the Blu-ray of it. If I do, I'm surprised, and I bought it on a $5 bin because I just was bored and I had no money, or I had enough money to spend. But yeah, so this one I just got like, oh well, fuck it, it's a 4K, you know, all that business. It wasn't even bad priced for the kind of set it was. I think altogether with shipping, I think I only paid like 40 some bucks. So from the UK, that's not bad at all. Especially considering, I mean, yes, it is only a 4K disc, but all the special features that are on here are insane. Because I know, yeah, we were bitching about the music video. That's the only gripe. Like, they've got tons of classic EPK shit on here, tons of interviews, new documentary, not with anybody really huge, but I mean, enough people that makes it worth listening to. And I found out some interesting stuff just from the little bit I watched. I didn't even get a chance to watch it all yet. But I mean, I knew that at the time this movie came out, that there was like a couple other Robin Hood projects that were in development that never came to be. In fact, McTiernan was actually going to direct one. So when the two guys that wrote this story were shopping it around, they had kind of would come up with this concept, basically what we saw in the movie. Yeah. And Hollywood just wasn't really, you know, they're like, we already got one. Kind of basically, I told them we already got one. You know, like that's basically what it was. And so Fox wanted to buy it from them just to kill it.
Mm-hmm.
So they could have McTiernan's go forward, because you got to remember this is also right after Die Hard and shit. So that was a big deal. They wanted, you know, Joel Silver was producing and all that kind of shit. And correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he direct the one with Russell Crowe?
Oh yeah, who did that? Wasn't that one of them?
Maybe not, because Dan Blackroyd says McTiernan Robin Hood would have been amazing. For some reason, I feel like he came back to it. And he never. I guess he didn't. I was thinking that with those was remnants of that. But anyway, so all of them ended up. So basically, Warner Brothers wanted to buy it. And they offered him the most money, but their whole take was, can't you set it like in the future? Sci-fi movies are real big right now. And they're like, no. Because at the time, nobody had done this kind of a take on Robin Hood yet. You know, we had the 40s version, we've had the Disney version. I'm stretching to remember, was there a 70s Robin Hood? If there was, I think it was more of a remake of the original Robin, the Errol Flynn Robin Hood, or if I'm just misremembering a colorized version of that or something.
Might have been a 70s one.
Might not have.
If Ridley Scott did the Russell Crowe one.
Okay, I knew some big director did it. Thank you. That was Ridley. Okay, I knew it was some big. I'm like, who did that? I knew it was some big director. But yeah, because out of that era, the 70s and 80s, the only other Robin Hood project that I can put my finger on then would be Robin and Marion in 76. Okay, I didn't know what year it came out, but I knew it was somewhere around there. Because yeah, otherwise we hadn't really had a Robin Hood movie in a while, right? Believe it or not. And now that we've had a slew of them, it's hard to believe. But so yeah, when this came out, it was right on the cusp of Dick Tracy, so I'm sure that that was kind of part of it too, that nostalgic era value of it. Yep, Sean Connery was Robin Hood in that, and then he played the king in this one. Yeah, but sorry if that's spoilers for Runner, but it's a fucking
Runner's gone, so
movie. Oh, he didn't hear it anyway. No, I enjoyed the viewing of it quite a bit. It's got a lot of special features on it. I'm trying to remember here.
Brian Borth. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't feel like Alan Rickman should have been in Men in Tights. I think he was perfect in this one. I think his character plays menacing evil perfectly. Yeah, he's a little comedic, but I think he just it works. He works better there than he would in Men in Tights. So,
I mean, I guess I kind of question why they just didn't make Alan Rickman Prince John, and the guy who played his brother that from The Crow, the Sheriff of Nottingham. It would have made more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because they just kind of kill off they don't have the character Prince John at all. And they have the Sheriff of Nottingham doing what the prince was.
Prince
does. And then they create this character of his brother or cousin. Cousin, not a brother, cousin. And it's like, okay. I mean, I kind of understand what they were doing with creating Morgan Freeman's character in place of Little John, kind of. Like that made more sense, because I get that, especially, like when you think about it. Oh yeah, it's right after the Crusades, these guys were just fighting each other. They have a respect and a rapport. That's cool. I get it. And it's a way of adding, somebody like Morgan Freeman to the cast where normally it would be a very white England. See, this is how they used to do this shit, kids. They thought it through.
Yeah. He meets him in the Crusades where, he's prisoned together, and he takes him back to England, and he fights side by side with him.
Because he has a life debt, yeah.
Yeah, life debt. Because he's he was Muslim, right? In that, right?
I believe so, yeah. Because that was the whole thing, or Islam, one of the two, yeah.
Islam.
Because they were fighting. That's who they were fighting in the Crusades. And that's another thing he says in the movie, too, which is another way of, like I said, where they used to be able to do diverse things without it being, a huge deal, but also bringing attention, making it something out of it. Because you have the deal where people are resistant to him at first because he is black. But then Robin explains, like, I never seen fighters like his people before. They're smart, and they'll fight hard. And not only that, like he's smart with medical stuff, like he helps with the baby born that's breached or whatever.
And he helps with gunpowder.
And that all was accurate to the time. Because, or maybe he was Arab. Maybe he was Arab. I think he was Arab. Now that Tim was asking, now I'm thinking about it, he might have been Arab. Because they talk about how in the making of how the kings and all that shit used to have Arabs in their court for that very reason, because they were good with medicine and shit.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
And warriors and whatnot, yeah.
Yeah. I see it. Now, I've always loved the movie.
Okay, so Gisborne was a character originally, right? Okay, so
the guy of Gisborne is actual character. So what they really did was, like you said, they made Prince John
He's
and
kind of eliminated John, yeah.
Nottingham. I'm saying Nottingham.
He's not even a character in the movie. Yeah. He's not at all. Like, it's just, he's playing this land grab, and it makes sense for the movie. I mean, as far as that goes. And there was an actual Sheriff Nottingham. Like, I did some research into this because I did get interested. I'm like, what is the true story of this?
Yeah.
And they have two possibilities of who Robin Hood really was, from what I gathered. At least two or three, but two main possibilities. And the one that makes the most sense actually predates this era by quite a bit. Because the original songs that were written about Robin Hood were actually from the 1400s, if I remember right. And actually, it has more to do with resistance to the church than actually being part of the Crusades. Because the story I heard from back then, it had to do with the taxes of the church. And you could get loans from the church, and they would tax the shit out of you on those loans. And if you weren't able to pay them back, they would take everything you owned, and you'd be destitute. And they'd leave you homeless. And that's where the part of the story that gets blended with the homeless people and the peasants and all that kind of stuff. And so what the thing was is the church was very corrupt then. So what the real Robin Hood did was attack this church. And what happened was the king at that time was King it wasn't one of the Henrys. I can't remember now.
King John? No, it's not King John.
No, it wasn't not John, because John didn't come along until 200 years later. I can't remember. Edward? It might have been an Edward.
King Edward.
Okay, so Edward was at odds with another king in another kingdom, and I can't remember what it was. And they had just had a war, and Robin was part of a crew that had fought against him. So in passing, King Edward ran into this Robin Hood crew, and they let him through because they were friendlies. And through that is where you get the relationship of the king at the time and Robin Hood and their loyalty. So what he did then was he supposedly paid these rebels to go out and cause issues for the church and this other guy because they were attached in their whole thing. Was it Ralph? Is it really Ralph? No.
No, I don't think he's just making a joke.
No. Jerk. But yeah, so like anyway, this long convoluted thing comes around. So there's there's a lot of similarities to it, and there is even a Maid Marian because she was the one that a lot of historians said that didn't exist. And he was married to a woman at the time named Matilda, and a common nickname for Matilda at that time was Marian. Also, there's the people that the one guy that they found was named Robert. Again, another common nickname of Robert at that time.
Robin with a Y, and Hode, Hoad, also meaning the same thing as a hood or a thief.
And
that makes sense.
Yeah, so there is a precedence for this character in this, and then there's another one that's kind of similar from a little bit different era, and then there is stuff that's in the whole King. Oh, jizz! I just forgot the actual King's name that we're just talking about.
Edward or John?
No, the one that actually leaves and comes back, the one that Sean Connery plays.
Oh yeah,
King.
What was his name? Richard. King Richard.
King Richard. So yeah, there was actual story about King Richard that's similar to that too. So they just kind of amalgamized the two, right? Like there was,
right,
because there actually was a sheriff of Nottingham as well that one Robin Hood in the other story didn't get along with. So there's there's like three stories they all kind of melded together throughout history is what happened.
Makes sense. You like did full on research, man.
Oh yeah, cool. I was like, awesome. I want to know the fucking truth. I'm like, I want to know what the hell the deal is, because when I like these historical dramas, I want to know how much is accurate, how much isn't. And in that, even though people say that this is one of the worst versions of Robin Hood, I will actually say this is probably one of the closer to the accurate versions until they actually do one based on Robin with a Y Hood. Until we see that one about him against the church and that whole thing with King Edward, that would be an actual Robin Hood story.
Yeah.
The true story. Until we get that, this is the most closest, as far as I'm concerned, to the historical accuracy of it all.
I'll agree with you. And it's always been my favorite Robin Hood so far. So
especially showing the lethalness of the Sheriff of Nottingham, because it wasn't just one person. That was a like a king. Like it was a position you would take.
Yeah.
And the one that's based on in the Robin Hood story is one of the most lethal of them. And that a lot of that shit that they based on that's where that story comes from, is because that sheriff was such a dick. Yeah, he would take shit and steal and tax and all that kind of crap. So yeah, and so that kind of part also was also based on an actual person as well.
Nice.
But anyway,
I dig it.
Thank you. Hopefully we get to see that this year from Warner Brothers in the U.S. It sounds like from the trailer we saw.
That'd be nice to get the U.S. scan of that. I would like to get to this Nerdporial Lifeform $2 super chat, which will also go into sort of what my first pick is going to be. He says, "Hey guys, question: is Gremlins a Christmas movie?"
Yes.
100 times yes. Christmas. Gremlins.
Even though, just like Die Hard, they didn't want it to be necessarily up the front, it just became one naturally.
Just came on. Yeah.
I do agree that Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
It is. It's a 100% a Christmas movie. And with that being said, here's for your $2 super chat.
Get him, Hulk.
Get him, Hulk.
That's so good.
I love it.
Yeah, and Nerdporial, you're not wrong. It's basically, It's a Wonderful Life meets Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, and thank you once again for another $2 super chat. But I will show you, since this is my first pick of the night, it is Gremlins, but it's not the first Gremlins, because thanks to Tom, I wanted to watch Gremlins 2, because I watched Gremlins 2, not part 1. I watched part 2 because you want to put a gremlin in a movie with goofy eyes, it'd be goofy as fuck. It's in the movie. So
you're like a child, like a little child.
It's like a little child. I watched the Key and Peele Gremlins 2 skit, and it was fucking hilarious. And I had to watch Gremlins 2 because I have not seen Gremlins 2 in forever. I've seen Gremlins 1 tons of times. I actually just watched it not too long ago, but I haven't seen Gremlins 2 in probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. And after I watched that skit, I had to. I don't have the 4K of the first one, but after I watched that skit, I had to watch the second one. And God,
on the
I loved it.
Clamp Cable Network. It's Casablanca in full color with a happier ending.
We got a guy in a Dracula suit giving the news.
Oh, I love Gremlins too. Oh,
I love it too. I forgot how good it was.
I still need to watch it.
Talk about a mind. Well, we won't talk too much about it since Runner's.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much.
Here's the thing: since I don't have much to do tomorrow, I'm probably gonna watch it tomorrow.
Watch it; it's great. And then watch the Key and Peele skit, because I love that. It was hilarious. Now I'm gonna go put some cowboys in Back to the Future 3. We got this, and that was hilarious.
Oh shit.
That was a great skit, and it made me want to watch the movie. And the movie, it's got a great cast. It's got
You're just like
Christopher
a
Lee.
child. You just take adjectives and you put them together and you add gremlin to it. I love it. It's in the movie.
It's in the movie. He said, no, wait. You said no. It's actually in the movie.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Hold up. You talk about a gremlin. It's made completely out of electricity, like flying around the screen, animated and shit, everything like that. Crazy all over the place, electrified gremlin. I don't give a shit. It's in the movie.
It's in the I love it. You talking about little green gremlin with a vajayjay and lips and all that. I love it.
Yeah,
Loving it.
Nerdporial, I will watch Gremlins 2 before.
And while we're at it, I'm going to add
tomorrow.
Salad Gremlin.
Yes, Salad Gremlin. Just off the top of my head.
Just off the top of my head, I'm like, Salad Gremlin. What's the other two he adds? Like, he adds like 3 or 4 more. And he's like,
yeah. It's so great. I love it. And I love
You're talking about a gremlin that's just all fucked up and googly eyed.
A gremlin with goofy eyes, all fucked up, goofy as fuck. You're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. It's in the movie.
Don't you ever lose that.
And I love at the end it said, all this is actually in the movie. So, it is.
Kind of is.
It is.
What's funny is Joe Dante has responded to that. I don't remember his exact quote, but they're like, what did you think of the Key and Peele skit if you've seen it or whatever? And he's like, it's kind of accurate.
I read some of the comments on that. One guy's comment I thought was freaking hilarious. He said, why do I feel like this guy was an actual person in Hollywood and this really did happen? So,
because he kind of is almost probably like.
It was great. If you guys don't know what
he's just like Hollywood, man. He was like Hollywood.
He was dressed just like him, had the sunglasses. Check out that skit, guys, especially if you've seen Gremlins 2. But I love Gremlins 2. It has a great cast. It's got Christopher Lee. It's got the returning cast from the original. What's his name? Dick, whatever.
Dick
I can't
Miller.
think of his last name. He's in every Joe Dante movie.
Dick Miller.
Dick Miller, yeah. Zach and Phoebe Cates and I'm trying to think of his name. He plays like the Donald Trump type guy in the movie. He's the rich guy.
Oh, John Glover.
John Glover, yeah. Such a great cast. And even the guy playing, I know he's a character actor, but playing the vampire guy. Oh, and it's got Getty Watanabe from
Krosky and Gabby, yeah.
Yeah, it's just so great and it's hilarious.
Long Duck Dong or whatever.
Yeah. It's something that you don't think should work, and I understand why Hulk Hogan. Yes, that's in their skit too. You want to put
what's funny? Okay.
Hulk Hogan. It'll break the fourth wall. Go ahead, sorry.
Everything about this fucking movie going into it. I had the cards, all that business. I was still not prepared for that. They don't show that in the cards. Okay? Really? They don't really give you a good idea in the cards of how batshit crazy this movie is going to be. It just kind of gives it to you as like a straightforward story. And when I saw the movie, I'm just like, what the fuck? I loved it. I mean, it wasn't a huge crowd there, but they were all into it. It was like laughing and shit. It was funny because, like, unbeknownst to us, like my cousin, 2 sets of my cousins showed up, and my aunt and uncles. So it was like almost like a family weird reunion at the same time because, like, oh, y'all are here. Okay, cool.
It is such a tonal shift from the first movie.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know what it is, and I know some people don't like it, but it works in my mind. It's like, where do you really go from that first movie? It's kind of, it's scary, it's set in a small town, it's Christmas, the Gremlins is something you never have. What do? You put it in a city, in an office building.
Yeah. And that's where Joe Dante said it, is kind of like that. Because it was kind of like that. Because the actual making was, first of all, Warner was going to make this movie one way or the other because Gremlins was one of their biggest films of all time. And so they had been wanting to, and Dante had kind of moved on. He had done other movies. And they had tried, I think, 2 or 3 other scripts that just didn't work. And other possible directors. I think even Chris Columbus was going to be one of like his directorial debut at one time, if I'm not mistaken. But he then eventually went away from the project. But Warner Brothers got desperate and they needed something for summer of 1990. And they backed up a truckload of money to Joe Dante's house. And they said, please and Steven Spielberg's, of course. So please, would you please make Gremlins 2? And he's like, well, I'll only do Gremlins 2 if I can do anything I want. And he's like, they're like, yes, please. And he's like, no, you don't understand. I mean, anything I want. They're like, sure, yeah, no, do anything you want. You're like, no, you don't understand. I'm going to take the first movie. I'm going to flip it on its head.
Yeah.
Like, great.
Take that bitch up to 11.
No. Yeah, no, you don't understand. Like, and then basically that skit was probably Joe Dante trying to explain this movie to the brass. Because he didn't even really know then what he was going to do. Initially, it started as the Gremlins taking over New York. Well, there was no way they were going to be able to afford that.
Yeah.
They're like, what about one building in New York? Great, brilliant, perfect. Especially another guy, I think Charlie Haas had the concept of putting it in like a smart building. Because these were like the concept of, anyway, as we see, this movie predicted a lot of the future.
It did. Because there's a lot of stuff, like everything all in that one building, and you say stuff and all that. It's just like, it was like perfect.
So like the satirical tone, that was initial, like Dante right off the bat knew he was going to crank that up. Because he's like, what do you do with how ridiculous the first movie was? Right? You got to crank it up to 11, like Greg just said. And then his next bit of business was, the Gremlins. Well, Wayless said no thanks because he was busy with The Fly 2, and I'm sure he still had nightmares of the first film. And so he's like, thanks, but no thanks. I'm moving up in the world. More power to you. I'm working on one fly instead of dozens of gremlins. Thank you. I'm good. And not only that, I don't need Steven Spielberg making last minute fucking demands on me. Yeah. For those who don't famously know, Chris Wayless barely made it out of Gremlins alive because at the last minute, Steven Spielberg decided, we really need if one of these Mogwai guys made it through the whole movie and he was like a hero. And when I say the last minute, I literally mean like a day or two before they started fucking shooting. Yeah. Like they rewrote the whole script with Gizmo in it. There wasn't a Gizmo in the original movie. It was supposed to be Spike. Stripe.
Yeah.
Yep. They're basically one and the same character.
Yeah.
And so fucking Chris Wayless, after having a massive fucking heart attack, not really, but he's like, what the fuck do I do? We designed first of all, they were having a hell of a time. First, okay, let's take it back 2 seconds to a few months before that when they first presented the Mogwai, and they're like, they're great, they look amazing, but the brown fur doesn't really differentiate them that much. They were all covered in brown fur. They look like little Ewoks basically. And you know what, one of the guys behind there said, probably one of the upper producers, I have no idea whom, Steven Spielberg has this Cocker Spaniel with white and brown kind of mix. Maybe if you make them look like that. And Chris is like, well, these are done. This is it. This is thousands of hairs of strand done by hand on a slew of puppets.
Yeah.
You realize we have to reskin all of them.
They did all over.
Yeah, just do that because I think Steven will like that.
Yeah.
So jump ahead to when they're showing Steven the Mogwai. He loves them. They're great. He loves them so fucking much. He wants one in the movie the whole time. So Chris is like, fuck. We couldn't get these things to walk. We can barely get them to move. We're lucky that they're only in 30 minutes of the movie at most. And that's being, hyperbolic because they're really not in every shot or anything.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, so after 30 minutes, I'm supposed to not have to worry about these things because he already won an argument over the gremlins to begin with because in the original concept, all the gremlins were 18 inches tall. Mogwai and gremlins. They were the same fucking height. And he's like, you realize that's not even, that's barely not even 2 feet tall. If you make them at least closer to 3 feet, then I can at least get some of these mechanics and wires and shit in here to move. Like, otherwise, it's impossible. This is not going to be able to do it. The Mogwais are going to be tough enough. So they're like, all right. So they agreed on that concept of making the gremlins a bit more, and it made them more menacing anyway. And at that time, it also opened them up to the possibility of putting, say, a monkey in a suit, a gremlin suit, which didn't work out too well. because the monkey freaked the fuck out and tore the head off. So anyway, so like Chris is sitting here going, what the fuck do I do? What the fuck do I do? And he doesn't even know what the hell they're going to come up with yet. So he's going to be completely on the fly with the rewrites of whatever they work in here with Gizmo. And as we've seen in the movie, they worked him in quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Even that whole climax and shit was all set up now. Not only was it, because that's where Zach Galligan was kind of pissed, because initially he was the hero. There was no Gizmo. Now he's got to share the screen with this fucking furball.
Yeah.
Not only has he got to share the screen with him, he gets to help kill the last gremlin. And in the final cut, it's only Gizmo. Because Billy will tell you, the guy who plays Billy, Zach, will point out, there was another shot where I finish opening up the blinds.
Yeah.
Because Gizmo only opens up one of them and says, oh, I can open up the rest of them. Bingo. They just cut right to the whole thing open. So that's why Billy's standing there, like seemingly out of breath, just kind of in a different spot all of a sudden. Because he ran over, opened the blinds, and then he goes down and picks up Gizmo. Well, like, so yeah, so the whole thing was like, oh, what the fuck? He's like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Well, he got a great concept. He's like, wait a minute. If he's carrying around a backpack, I can shove all the mechanics in the backpack. I can have him pop up. I can have him swivel his head. I can just do some things, just whatever. At least he'll move.
Yeah.
For close-ups, we'll work with the big ones because they had big full size, like not full size, oversized, I should say. And they do use a lot of those for this movie too.
Yeah.
Because I'll get to that. So those will work when they do like the close-up shots and all that kind of shit. When there's nothing, and they could scale some props around them to make them look the right size. Like all the close-ups of Gizmo, that is actually like a 3-foot wide head, maybe roughly 2 or 3 foot by 2 or whatever sized head. So they would just zoom in close on that head so they could do all the very mechanical, like very intricate mechanical shots, and then they would shoot it in slower speed. So then it would play at normal speed. It would look more fluid. And this would also lead to how come Audrey 2 looks so good in Little Shop of Horrors and leading up to Ninja Turtles a couple years later. These are all, kind of the leaps of the technology.
Yeah.
So Chris figured that out, figured out the car, that worked out, got everything through it that he could. The movie worked out brilliantly, as we saw. So as I said, the second movie came along. He said, I'm good. No, thanks. I'm already busy. Thank God. He was directing The Fly too.
Yeah.
And so they call up Rick Baker. And that's a name you may recognize. Rick has done a lot of work, Men in Black and some other famous stuff.
Tons of stuff.
Rick's like, oh yeah, sure, I'd love to work on Gremlins. Only one thing, I want to be able to do anything I want with the Gremlins. And Joe's like, perfect, brilliant, because that's exactly what I fucking want.
Yeah.
And he redesigned. He's like, I want to redesign the Gremlin from head to toe, which he did. And Joe's like, great, fine, as long as you don't change it too much. And as you see in the movie, we have 2 new designs for the Gremlins. We have the brown Gremlin and the green Gremlin.
Yeah.
And then we have, what are the character Gremlins? And there is a slew of them. And they all have names. If you find them in various forms of literature, cards, what have you. Because there's Lenny, Carl, Daffy, Mohawk. That's the main 4 bad guys.
Yeah.
Then you have the brain Gremlin, the girl Gremlin, Greta, as she's sometimes called in certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And the vegetable Gremlin, the electric Gremlin, the bat Gremlin, the spider Gremlin, which is also Mohawk.
Yeah.
And on and on and on and on. And that was just their funness. And that's what Joe Dante was like. As many Gremlins as I can shove in this fucker, I'm going to shove in every fucking scene. Because he was pissed, again, because this was something that happened to him on the end of the first film. He was editing the film, and every time he get notes back, there's too many Gremlins. Finally, he wrote a note back. He's like, if I cut any more of the Gremlins out of this movie, you might as well call it Humans.
I love Joe Dante.
Because they spent like 3-4 weeks just shooting Gremlin shit after the main, like all that stuff in the fucking theater, all the stuff in the bar. Like they held Phoebe Cates on for another week and a half, 2 weeks or whatever it was. So they could shoot all that shit in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And they had all this stuff in there. And he's like, what the cut out any more Gremlins? They don't even show up till halfway into the goddamn movie as it is now.
Yeah.
And if I cut any more out, like you said, I might as well call it People because there ain't nobody in it but people. Like, and he's like, what are they trying to do? Make an ET clone here? Because at this point, he thought that was what it was. He was like, they're getting a little afraid of the rating.
Yeah.
Which, rightfully so, as we saw that Gremlins was one of the reasons why we have the PG-13 rating to this day.
Yep.
So yeah, Gremlins 2 was I still don't understand why Gremlins 2 got a PG-13 rating. That one's more a flat-out PG.
It is much more comedic, but there is some people that die in it, so I guess maybe... I don't
Not
know.
viscerally, though.
No, not viscerally.
Not in any way that I would consider horribly bad. I mean, shit, even in Tremors, there's probably worse.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I loved it, and I love the fact that, like you said, in the smart building and everything, that they feel more like Gremlins to me in this one than they did in the first one, like with tearing up the building and making everything mess up and stuff.
Well, and a lot of that got lost in the first movie because
Yeah.
of the change in the story, and that's where Gizmo ended up. They gave him that name as kind of a nod to that because there really wasn't a lot of that left in the script. Because when they made him less lethal, I mean, yeah, they still kill people in the movie, but they don't do it to the extent they did in the original script. Like in the original script, they crash a fucking plane.
Yeah.
like they do a lot of destruction. Like that's one of the first things they do is they blow up a plane in the airport. They crash an airplane.
There's a gremlin on the wing.
Yeah, I think it's more or less, well, because the whole thing is they used to mess around. That was the whole excuse in World War II was that if something went wrong with mechanics, gremlins got into mechanics, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
When they couldn't explain what the hell happened. And that was kind of where that whole thing comes from. And that's why I like Futterman's whole like connection with World War II and all that stuff. And the novel's actually great. Like the novel still has a faint stuff from that other version, because this version of the original film changed so many times. I'm sure I've talked to you guys about the R-rated version before, basically. It would have been. But yeah, like there's some remnants of that in the novel, because they even set it up like the gremlins are from another planet. There's this great little prologue bit in the novel that's set during World War II, where you got these two pilots talking to each other, and they keep seeing something out of the corner of their eye. And they're like, "Did you see that? No, you're just hallucinating." And then all of a sudden, the plane starts to go down, and it ends like, "Oh, and all they heard was this devilish cackle," as the plane went down.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, there's like little bits like that were kind of cool. So yeah.
I love it. But yeah, check out Gremlins 2, guys. Give it a rewatch if you haven't seen it in a while, or if you never liked it. I think it's worth it. And check out that skit; it's great. That's awesome. I love hearing all that, Tom.
I am so sorry. Yeah, like Gremlins is one of my jams.
Oh no worries, man. I knew once I brought it on, there's gonna be a lot of talk about it. So
didn't talk about it much when I brought it on for some reason.
Because I had talked a lot about Gremlins already.
Okay.
I don't know. Plus, I'm gearing up again for it because it's coming up in a couple of things I'm doing here in the next couple of weeks too.
Well, here's the thing: I'm supposed to talk about it tomorrow night with Nerdporial, the first one at least, and that's why. Like,
what time is
that? He told me like 9 Central Time, I think. Hopefully I can make it by then because I have a night class around that time, but hopefully I get out early. I think Greg is supposed to join it too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll be there, and it's funny. Like I thought the stream was supposed to be last week, so that's why I watched it last week. And then I come to find out, I DM him like, "Hey, the Gremlin stream is later today, right?" And he's like, recheck the date," and I'm like, "Oh fuck." So yeah, that will be happening tomorrow, and I can't wait because it's been a while since I've seen the first one. My parents made me watch it when I was little, and it scared the shit out of me.
It's a great flick, but
yeah, like Stripe scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, it's good. And
rewatching it now is like, my God, it's even.
It holds up there, don't it?
Oh yeah, dude. Oh my God, the practical effects are just brilliant.
It's awesome.
And I don't know why I haven't seen Gremlins 2. Well, I'll be honest. I've probably said this multiple times, but I don't often see a lot of sequels to older movies. You know what I mean? Because at the time, I just consider them to be shit. You know what I mean?
A lot of the sequels to like older movies, especially when they're made in the same amount of time, aren't bad. It's the newer sequels that are the really shitty ones.
Well, that's not it, but like there are some like sequels that were made for like 80s movies and all that were also made in the 80s, but that just aren't as good. And I'm like, yeah. Or the 90s too. Like they'll try to make a sequel off of this and that, and it's like, and it I don't know, just doesn't interest me like right off the bat, so that's why I often wait. Like, for example, like, I've only seen Die Hard 1, I haven't seen any of the sequels just because I'm just like, the first one's good, I'll probably watch the sequels, like, the next few years and maybe not for a while, I don't know. You
I
know,
get
like,
it.
that's one of those like, movies like that where I'm like, yeah, I'll just stick with the first one for now, and then I'll rewatch and I'll not rewatch, but I'll watch the sequels whenever I can, if I
I
feel
get
like.
you, but what's your next pick there, Renner? What do you got for us?
Alright, next pick. I'm gonna get this one over with because I have technically I have 5 more movies left to show, but I want to get this one over with, and we'll all.
How do
This
you
is
have 5 more movies left? Tom's got like 4, and I got like 3. So
I'll explain why, but this is one where we can all talk about. I'm pretty sure it's all your guys' picks. We have the same steel book.
are you doing
This
that one now? If you would have told us that, we could have just all showed it at one time, same time.
You want to show it at the same time right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to show it 2 picks later if you're showing it now.
I didn't bring mine up here, but yeah,
Oh,
I didn't
seriously?
open it yet.
Oh,
I watched it
God.
2 weeks ago. It's the same scan.
Go ahead and show it, Runner.
You gonna show it too, Greg, or no?
Yeah, I'm going to show. Go ahead. There.
All right, there we go.
I could have brought mine up and we'd all been triplets, but
I have way
Mine
better
is still in
lighting for this
plastic.
steelbook than Greg.
I don't know. You can see it.
Yeah, I could barely see Sean Connery, dude. Like at least you can see the steelbook that I
I
don't
think
know.
you can see mine pretty well, other than the glare.
Well, here's the
I
thing.
mean,
like,
I don't have big ring light in the middle of mine.
see, you see the orange hue on there. Turn the steelbook around, because
There you go. Besides, I did a video on mine, so I held it up real close for the video for people to see. So go ahead and talk about it.
There can be only one. I rewatched it in its entirety last night. It's a very good movie. It's a fantastic movie, actually. Great. I don't know. It's an interesting story. I didn't think I'd love it as much as I did. I thought it would be like, I don't know, because I remember when Greg told me about the movie, he was like, okay, like he talked about Highlander for like a while to me, like one day. I don't know why, but he was like, okay, so the first movie is an absolute masterpiece, and then I saw the first movie because it was on Amazon Prime when I saw it, and I was like, I wouldn't go as far as say it's a masterpiece.
I would, but I like.
Well, I know. Well,
certain
obviously
type of
you
movie.
would.
So.
Yeah. Well, no. At first, I was like, I didn't see it that way. But after seeing it a second time, I'm like, yeah, it's starting to grow on me a lot more. And
It's a good movie. I love it. It's just like there's something special. I do think if they were planning on sequels, I do wish they wouldn't have ended it, because basically they are the last 2 of the Immortals, and I think that's one
Greg,
of many reasons why the sequels don't hold up, because they kept trying to fix that. But
this movie is a great example of a movie I've only seen of a series I've only seen the first movie to. I haven't gotten to the sequels because first of all, I hear they're not so good, and
they're not. I like part 3 though.
I've heard people say that, and
part 3 is the best of the sequels.
Here's the thing. Like, when it comes to Highlander, I'll say this. Like, after watching a second time, I've had a better experience with it now. It's definitely great. It looks pretty good on 4K. I've seen like videos comparing it. All
Tyrell
that.
said, "What movie? Haven't said the title once."
What does it say to you?
You still haven't
Highlander.
said it.
Highlander.
Highlander.
Um,
I watched all the Highlander movies too, Random Brad,
see,
except The Source. Don't ever. Okay, part 2 is fun to watch just because it's just really bad and they fucking went nuts on it and it's so stupid.
that's why I'm interested in seeing 2 because of that reason.
Part 3 is a decent. It probably should have been the second movie, honestly. And then part 4, as me and Tom talked, it depends on if you're a fan of the first movie, you probably won't like it. If you're a fan of the TV series, you probably won't like it. But it's not too bad, but it's all right. Don't ever watch Highlander: The Source. That movie is the shittiest movie I have ever seen. Oh my god, it's horrible.
I heard about that.
It's the guy it's not Connor, it's Duncan from the TV series, and it was supposed to be such a different movie than what we got, but what we got is just pure trash. Don't yeah. Oh, it's bad. But continue with your thoughts on this one. What did you think of the 4K scan of this one? I mean, I know it's the same as the one Tom already has, but I thought it looked great.
Yeah,
it looks amazing.
Yeah,
there were some like parts to it where I was like, it didn't like feel like 4K to me personally, but then there were like a ton of other shots that did. You know what I mean? Like there were some shots that looked great on 4K, and then there were some shots that didn't. It didn't like scream 4K to me. You know what I mean?
there was maybe one or two that I'm not sure if they had the full on negative or whatever it was that just kind of turned. But for the most part,
like, I don't know. Did you feel like the very beginning of it with the whole wrestling thing, like that didn't feel like 4K?
No, I thought the very beginning with the wrestling looked great. I was really surprised because, especially seeing the wrestling in the 4K, because I grew up watching wrestling, so I knew what 4K would, how that would look compared to normal, and I thought it looked fine. There were certain scenes like with the flashbacks that I noticed
I'll say this. Well, you've seen the movie more than me, so I don't know. The beginning was like compared to the other shots, the other scenes that felt one of the more things that was like the least 4K to me.
I don't know. I thought the beginning looked really great. I thought there were certain scenes in the flashbacks when it kept like flashing back to the back or the present that like right at the tail end or tail beginning that looked bad, but other than that, I thought it was fine.
Yeah, but you understand it more than me, Greg. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But other than that, great cast. Christopher Lambert is really good in this role. It's not the first thing I've seen him in. The first thing I saw him in was Mortal Kombat, and I fucking hate his Raiden.
Which is bad because it's probably the best part of the movie, Runner. That's what most people remember.
What's the best part of the movie?
His Raiden. Most people remember his Raiden and were pissed that they recast him.
Yeah, most people like his Raiden only because he acts like Connor fucking McLeod. It's probably people who like Highlander. They're like, oh wow, it's Christopher Lambert. He's Raiden. Well, he's not really Raiden. He's just playing Connor McLeod in Mortal Kombat. That's not Raiden. Connor McLeod is not Raiden at all.
Fortress isn't a bad movie.
I know people fucking like. I know people are gonna hate when I say this, but I'm sorry, that's not Raiden at all. Like in Mortal Kombat, Christopher Lambert just plays Connor McLeod. Like whoever, like I forgot the guy who made the movie or the people involved. They were just like, hey, let's just get Connor McLeod in here.
No, it's Raiden.
And just slap the Raiden.
Brandon Brad said so. He's Raiden. So
no, it's not. Fuck. Greg, like you said, you don't game, so you can't speak on this. I do.
I don't game, no.
No, so you wouldn't know jack shit about. Listen, just watch like any, like like just watch like cutscenes of like a Mortal Kombat game of Raiden.
I've seen Mortal Kombat. I did. That's one I do know, but
Not the
not as like
movie.
I don't know the
Not
lore.
not the
No,
movie.
I'm talking about the games. I've seen the games, but
Okay.
not the lore.
Like I'll say this, like the more like recent games, like that Raiden, like that's fucking Raiden right there. Like the guy who like I love the radar version of more. Well, are you talking about the new one? Don't get me started on that piece of shit.
Anyways, back to Highlander real
The
quick.
one
before
I
we move
actually
on.
like, yeah.
The other one I actually liked too. I liked it too.
I fucking hate it. I hate it so much. Like
I don't know.
the amount of
If I was 15 when that came out, I'd have shit myself.
It was. I liked it.
listen, the fatalities were cool. The story is fucking shit. It's not Mortal Kombat. Like the amount of hate I have for that movie is the same amount of hate Tom has for the Batman. Like that's how much I fucking hate the movie.
But if you guys can get your hand on the Steelbook, I do recommend the Steelbook. It is
awesome. Sean Connery is also good. To talk about the rest of the cast,
Sean Connery is amazing in this film as Ramirez.
Clancy
Brown steals the movie as the Kurgan.
Oh my! Listen, Clancy Brown is one of the most underrated actors ever. Like, would you agree with me right there?
I think he's great. He's a great actor. He's very underrated. He's a good character actor. So
like I'll be honest with you, like seeing him in more movies, and like I was introduced to him as a voice actor because of Mr. Krabs
and yes, the Queen soundtrack, A Kind of Magic, is fucking badass. Anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That was a great soundtrack, but I was introduced to Clancy Brown as a voice actor, along with some other people probably my age or a little bit older. When for SpongeBob as Mr. Krabs or Lex Luthor, and after seeing him in this, I'm just like, well, why the fuck hasn't he played Lex Luthor in live action?
Yeah, that would have been good casting.
That would have been the best Lex Luthor in live action.
Forever.
Yeah, the Queen soundtrack is fucking amazing.
It's amazing.
I love it.
Great cast. I'm looking forward to seeing how the sword fights are handled in the future. Speaking of Henry Cavill, at least he'll have Highlander. Hopefully, it turns out to be a hit for him. I'm looking forward to see how that sword fights play out in that.
I hope the Highlander reboot, if it's good, I hope it does better than whatever James Gunn has planned. I'm sorry, I'm so mad at that.
But
I'll definitely watch it just because I think Henry Cavill is great.
Yeah.
And I think
I agree with you. Clancy Brown is just as underrated as Brad Dourif. And if you guys want to get this, I don't know if it's going to be so easy to get the Steelbook right now. But
by the way, Clancy Brown's going to be in John Wick 4.
He's going to be in. Well, the people that made John Wick is doing the Highlander remake. So
yeah, I know. I remember connecting the dots. And I'm like, is the director for the Highlander reboot gonna get Clancy Brown to play the Kurgan back? That would be amazing.
I don't know if we'll get him to play the Kurgan, but maybe we'll get a cameo.
Oh my god, that I don't know, man. I can't see anyone else playing that role.
He's too old to play it now, so there's no way he could play the Kurgan now. But it wouldn't surprise me if he does make an appearance in the movie. But if you check this out, if you guys can get a hold of the Steelbook, go ahead and get a hold of the Steelbook. But the standard edition 4K is only $12.99 right now on 4K. So if you want to get onto that, get onto that. So
yeah, dude, there were plenty of Steelbooks at my Best Buy. So
if you got any Best Buy.
Well, fuck you. You got yours early, damn it.
I got mine Saturday of last week.
So don't talk shit about my Best Buy, you cunt.
That's the first time I've ever got anything early. What are you calling me names for, man? I haven't called you a name once. You youngins, no respect for your elders.
You know what? Fuck you, man.
He told me to fuck me, call me a cunt. That's just.
You deserve it. You're like, oh, fuck you, Best Buy. Motherfucker, you got the movie early. Days.
And?
You should be grateful for that.
I am. But I still would say fuck your Best Buy.
Oh my god.
Anyways, it's a great movie. Check it out. Runner, you're not going to be able to make it through the second movie. It's just this.
I
It's
see,
crazy.
but you can see why I'm interested in checking out the second one.
Oh
though.
yeah,
Like,
it's
I want to see how bad it is.
oh it's bad. It's bad.
And I only want to watch the second one because I'm interested in the third movie because I have heard some decent things about the third one. You know what's funny? I recently checked. You can get every Highlander movie on digital except for the second one.
Well, good luck trying to find the second one because
yeah, I would like the original version. Be nice.
I have the original version on VHS, but I don't have it on Blu-ray.
Somebody told me that I think they have a Laserdisc rip of it, but I don't know if it's ever gotten a widescreen release.
I don't know. I don't think it has.
The original version?
Yeah, there's two versions of the second one.
I know.
Oh my
I know
God, you summer child! I was gonna say, do we really have to educate you on what's the differences between Highlander 2 and Highlander 2, the Renegade version?
I know there's a difference. I know there's a original and then there's the Renegade cut or whatever it's called.
Oh, it's a world of difference, my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean,
Planet Geist for one.
Well, I've heard you talk about it before, Tom.
Yeah, basically, Highlander 2 is if Gremlins 2 would have cranked it up to 12.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It takes place in the future. They make up this whole thing. I love the original version just because it's so batshit crazy.
The original version is they're aliens.
Yes, they're aliens. Yeah. And then in the Renegade version, they make them from the future, which is fucking stupid.
Yeah,
just as fucking stupid.
It confuses it even worse than because they're trying to fix it by saying they're from the future. Just makes it even worse. This is all
because of the studio mandate that they had to bring back Sean Connery, which is dumb. They could have just done more flashbacks with him.
Exactly.
It was just stupid.
Yeah, but I have the Blu-ray of the Renegade cut, and then I have
the Renegade cut just makes it a
original.
bad movie, whereas the original version is a so bad it's good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like really? the Renegade cut kind of fixes enough, but it's not enough, right? Like,
yeah, it just takes it from so bad it's good to it's just a really bad movie,
and it doesn't matter because they disregard it in all the sequels and shit anyway. So like. At that point, you're like, why even bother with this Renegade cut
exactly. Because the third movie erases it completely.
Yeah, it's not even like the Donner cut or anything like that, to where there's really all that much difference in the film itself. It's just the way they recut it and cut out some of the stupidity, but added new stupidity.
Yeah.
They rearrange some things, but like other than that, it's like
and they change the color of like the certain special features.
They've done that twice. Effects, I mean,
yeah,
because I have the old DVD as well. So yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, good. And Michael Ironside does, bless his heart, he tries in that. He does. We have another super chat here for $4.99 from Doug 1985 EA. He says, question, Runner actually likes Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Zack Snyder's Justice League. They are boring, no fun, and have memorable lines. Well, Martha.
Yes. I know people hate those movies. I unapologetically love Man of Steel. I know Tom can't stand it. I like the ultimate edition of BVS. I don't care for the theatrical. There's a few things I do not like in BVS. Just to make that clear. And I do love the Snyder cut of Justice League.
Well, there you go. And
that's all I'm going to say. We're not going to have a fight on this.
No. And thank you, Doug, for the super chat. And for that, you get...
I'd buy that for $1.
I'll say this, outside of Snyder dicks right now, I'll be nice because it's a time of mourning.
Yeah.
And I will be nice about that. Because I did kind of pre-warn the Snyder era coming. I didn't know it was going to come to this much of a close.
Yeah, I didn't think they were going to. I really thought Henry Cavill was coming back.
I thought the cast was coming back, and that was it.
I don't think so now,
obviously, but like I was sort of coming to accept that it's all gonna come to a close. And I'm like, it's fine. It's for the better. I can move on at this point. It's been too long.
Well, I mean, you still have see this. Speaking of, since this is a physical media show and stuff, you still have those movies on 4K and Blu-ray that you can go back and enjoy.
Exactly.
That's the way I look at it.
I have the Justice League trilogy on 4K. I'm
right there.
I'm all
I
good.
mean, granted,
Listen,
you're not getting your continuation of the story, but you still have those. You can go back and watch as many times as you want.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like Greg makes a good point, and you know what I love to see parts 2 and 3 of Justice League? Absolutely. I would love to see it. Even if it's whether it's good or bad, I just want to see his vision. But if I'm not gonna get it, I'd accept it at this point. And
there you
go.
Yeah. But moving on from that, Tom, what do you got for us for your next pick? If you're ready. I don't know if he's ready yet.
You there, Tom?
He might be doing something. He might be busy with something real quick. But yeah, check out the Highlander if you guys want to get it.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I'm back.
You ready for your next pick?
The Highlander still looks probably one of my favorites.
What do I do next?
So far?
Well, since y'all can already see the easel dog, we've been waiting for a long time. Yes, we've been waiting for a long time. We've been waiting for such a long time, but we ain't gonna wait no more. Because we're gonna rock and roll. We're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. There's a reason you shouldn't buy this one, and I'll tell you why that is tonight. Because about halfway through the movie, it feels like you're watching a fucking Blu-ray. Something happened. I don't know what. First movie looks amazing, though. So, yeah, if you already have this previously released set from the 2K scans, don't bother with the second film. If it's pointless. Something either went wrong in the process of it all. I don't know what. But roughly about 35-40 minutes into the movie, it goes from what's clearly a 4K scan of the negative into what looks like Blu-ray quality, and I was just unimpressed by that. But otherwise, I was very impressed by the 48 hours presentation. Very well done, pretty well balanced, not overly scrubbed or anything like a lot of Paramount movies. Sounds like I got a disc rolling around in here.
Well, once again, it's a Paramount problem, like we've talked about on here and on 4K for You. Paramount seems to be having a lot of problem with their
QC issues. Yeah.
So sometimes you can get a really good 4K scan, and other times you're starting to get shit, and it's like I don't know what the deal is. So
I have the 2 film collection on 4K. It was.
I kind of wish I had just done that now instead of buying them separately, because they got an extra $10 out of me now.
They didn't have them separately at my Best Buys, and they had like the only one left they had was the 2 film collection, so I bought it the same day I bought Pulp Fiction on 4K. And I only bought it just because it was the only one left, and I wanted to get it. I want to see the movie.
48 hours and another 40 hours. Great flicks.
I'll just kind of. I remember hearing Tom talk about them like a few months ago, and I'm like, yeah, this sounds like a flick I'd enjoy.
It is good. You'll enjoy it. You'll definitely the first one, and the second one is just as good. So it's one where the sequel and they're both really great films.
I mean, I like Beverly Hills Cop. So
yeah. Do you know what they're about?
48
hours. Do you know what they're about?
Not really, but if I were to take a guess, I'm guessing there's a clock that's supposed to go off in like 2 days. That's just that's my guess, because 48 hours.
Tom, do you want to explain it to him?
I was not even close to getting it right.
The incident in 1997, no, I don't think that had much to do with it.
No, I think it's Eddie Murphy. Just he wanted to decline.
He
but
picked up a hooker and gave her a ride home. It turned out she was a transvestite.
Yeah, but yeah,
he just gave her a ride home. That's all.
Yeah, that's all. It wasn't like he was ordering.
But busted doing anything or anything.
That's true. I thought that's what they were trying to. I thought
but no, 48 hours holds up really, really, really well. Yeah. I'm sure most people would find it very offensive today, but
Yeah.
I think it does a really good job of handling not only race relations but class relations.
That's
And
what. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Explain to Renner because he has no idea what the 48 hours is and what the movie's about.
oh wow,
That's what.
basically,
Yeah.
you have this guy. It starts out. There's this guy, this Native American guy named Billy Bear, who busts his old gang member friend out of jail. He's on a chain gang, and his name's Gans, and he ends up through a series of events. Jack Cates, who's played by Nick Nolte, Nick fucking Nolte,
Nick Nolte.
we ain't brothers, we ain't partners, and we ain't friends. After 48 hours, you're gonna be sorry you ever met me. I already am sorry. That's the most famous line in the movie.
Yes.
It's in every fucking trailer. Anyway, so basically, Jack gets through a series of events. He's a detective in San Francisco. He gets wrapped up in what initially was just a check on a possible whereabouts of this escaped felon, and he gets caught up in gunfire, and his gun gets hijacked by Gans, and he ends up killing 2 cops right in front of Nick Nolte. This doesn't set well with Nick or Jack. And so Jack is out to get this guy no matter what. So he figures out who he is, figures out who his gang is, and oh, they got one of their gang members in jail. Huh, or prison, actually. Eddie Murphy's character. So he goes to talk to him, and Eddie's like, I ain't telling you shit. He's like, you got to get me out of here, or I ain't going to tell you nothing. So he comes up with a deal with him for 48 hours. He gets him out. He's got to help him get Gans. And he's like trying to figure out why the fuck Eddie's character really wants to get Gans. And through the series of events, we find out what the hell's all going on. It's a really hilarious, funny, well-paced, well-told action film. Very 80s film. Like I said, it's got some moments that are gonna really freak out some snowflakes, but you know what? This movie does a lot more, like I said, for race relations, class relations, just how the police deal with and view criminals and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And has one of the greatest scenes in history when Eddie Murphy goes in and basically improvises roasting a redneck bar. Let's see what we can fuck with next.
I love that movie. It's such a good movie. I haven't seen the sequel in forever, but
I'm your biggest fucking nightmare. That's right. I'm with a badge. Which means I got permission to kick your ass any fucking time I want. And here's the thing, I don't like white people, and I really hate rednecks. Fucking hate rednecks. Never seen so many backward ass country fucks in my life.
That's a good movie. Runner, I think you'll really have a blast with it once you get to see it. I noticed
I feel like I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And I noticed, Tom, you was taking a ribbon from Nerdrotic and them on your post because Tasha Yar.
I'll be honest, I always liked Billy Bear's girlfriend. I always thought she was cute. And not only that, she's got the most lines. So I'm generally just watching her.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like, and honestly, I haven't watched the movie in years. So I mean, and a lot of my Star Trek watching is the movies.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like Tasha Yar is not somebody who I'm really all that familiar with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, in the shorter hair, if I saw her in the shorter hair, I would have instantly recognized her.
I get you. But I did see that. I see people like Third Roddick was like, come on, Tom. I was like, oh, he's getting a ribbon. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. And it's always fun when you see people like that in movies, especially when you don't notice it the first time around and it's like so many years and you're like, oh shit, I know who that is now. So I've been there.
Talks about getting laid as much as you do. He probably can't even get it up anymore. Are you kidding me, man? I've been in jail so long, I get hard when the fucking wind blows.
Oh, it's a great movie. It's a great movie. Tasha only got better off dead. It is. It is. Errol
Pretty
Thomas, you are
fucking
correct.
good.
Mm.
Nick Nolte. And I actually like the second film. I do.
I like the
I know a
second one
lot of
too, but
people
it's
give
been a
the
long
second
time.
film, and I know some people's reservations with it is because of what they do to a certain character in the first film, and I understand. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do understand, but at the same time, to me, it brings it all full circle. I thought it was a very well done film. And considering Walter Hill was willing to come back and Eddie Murphy was the reason it got made, Nick Nolte didn't really want to do it, but he liked the story idea. And, you know, because also it was coming back. The first one was Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy. This one was Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it's got the only thing I didn't care for in the second film is they came up with this convoluted thing about keeping him in jail for so long. Because, like, if you're going to let him out of prison, then why not just have him be out of prison? Just pick it up, you know, whenever. You don't have to have it set in the 90s, whatever.
Yeah.
Or just have him having a falling out and then whatever, something to that effect, you know. Pretty simple considering, you know.
Makes sense.
Easy to do, you know. But anyhow, no, once the story starts getting going, though, and just the whole idea that, you know, clearly that this story isn't over yet, you know, there's always a bigger fish, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that aspect of it I really like. I like that the characters are very much the same characters, you know. I mean, yeah, Jack's a little bit more nuanced with time because he's, you know, had to, you know, he watches his language a bit more, and I don't think he throws as many N-words around or any in the second film.
Yeah.
Point being, of course, he's also at the thing I like about the second film is it's a flip, right? They found a clever way of doing the flip.
Yeah.
And that is Nick Nolte actually needs Eddie Murphy this time, and Eddie Murphy has all the right and reason in the world to go fuck off.
Yeah.
But of course, Nick being a dick that he is, it gets it worked out the way it does. It all works in, and that's how you could have had this work out in the first place, you know. But you know, without having Eddie be in prison for another 5 years. But no, once that gets past that, I like the film. I'm just so pissed at the presentation we got in here from Paramount. I hope this is a snafu and they come out and they fix it, but I doubt they will.
Yeah, I doubt they will. I mean, I think Paramount is just churning these out now, and whatever that goes bad is they're going to leave bad. So that sucks. But it's interesting, though. I think I will probably pick up the double pack like Runner did. That way, knowing now what I know about another 48 hours, thanks to you. So that's what I'm picking up. I guess we'll go to me for my next pick. And my next pick, we probably won't talk much about. It'd probably just be me. So Runner's gone at the moment. And I don't know if you've seen this one, Tom. So my next pick, I like horror movies, so I watched the horror movie. Hatchet.
Never seen it, but heard of it.
It stars Kane Hodder as Victor Crowley, Hatchet Face. So yeah, I really enjoy this movie. It's just like an old school horror flick. It's got some great kills, some great special effects. Do you know who's all in this movie? What horror legends besides Kane Hodder?
Just Kane Hodder mainly. Otherwise, I don't really know.
Yeah. Robert Englund is in it, and Tony Todd is in it. So they're both in it. Tony Todd and Robert Englund are cameos compared to Kane Hodder. So, yeah, the movie opens up with Robert Englund. The movie opens with him on a boat with his son, and they're in the bayou because it takes place in New Orleans. And so basically, Jason kills Freddy. Spoiler alert: the beginning of the movie. But yeah, it's a Jason movie, directed and written by Adam Green. And the story behind how the movie came to be is really where the movie comes to be, is because like Adam Green and his wanted to make a movie. He actually came up with the story idea from when he was a kid and he stayed at a summer camp, and he'd been wanting to make the movie for like 20 years. So he took his friends down to New Orleans, and they just like shot a teaser trailer. Never filmed the movie, never had anything. Just they shot a teaser trailer, and it kind of leaked online, and people started thinking it was a real movie, and like buzz actually started building about it. And then the movie studio that got it was like, okay, now here's so $1 million, make the actual movie. So he made the movie. Hatchet. It's a slasher film, straightforward. It's got nudity. It's got tons of titties. It's got great kills. It's got Joel Murray is in it, who's freaking hilarious. He he's you've got these two girls and he's like basically filming them for Bayou Beavers, like more like Girls Gone Wild, and so that's funny. It's got like this really great cast of characters that are funny, and but like when Kane Hodder shows up and he shows up as Victor Crawley, that's when shit gets real, and he's just like tearing people apart. It's just I loved it. It was just a great movie, and now I got to go back and rewatch the sequels because I haven't seen the sequels in forever, and I just really enjoyed the first one here. So yeah, that's I knew there wasn't going to be much talking on this one, but if you get a chance to see it, Tom, I think you would like the first one at least. I don't know about all the sequels, but I think you definitely like the first one.
I've heard a lot of people tell me about it before. It's just never one I really. Whoops. Sorry,
yeah, I get you.
I never really got into, so
yeah.
Like later horror really just kind of turned me off.
This is pretty much like an 80s horror movie.
Yeah, I've heard that.
With a little more gore, bloody gore, but it's all practical effects. So it's not like, I wouldn't say it's like the Saw torture porn crap, but they do like he comes out and he tears a woman's face right off, her head, grabs her from the mouth and the jaw and just tears her head right off from the jaw, which it's all done practical and you can tell it's a puppet, but I think that really helps with like, it sells it like an 80s, it's like slasher flick for me. So I wouldn't say it's too over the top bloody gory, but it's good. Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. And, but that's about all I could say about it, I guess. But I just love I watched the special features. I love the fact that Kane Hodder wouldn't allow anybody to see him in the makeup or any of the cast or anything. And he stayed away from them the whole time. And if he had to interact with them, he wore like a big old heavy coat, covered up his whole body and face and everything, and so he could work out the stunts. So when he shows up and they see him for the first time in the movie, that's legitimately their real reaction when they're screaming and running because they had never seen what he was going to look like or what he was going to do. So when he jumps out and they see him and you see the screams, that's legitimately them, and they really do take off running. And he does. They say when he stays in the scene, so even after they yell cut, he's still chasing the motherfuckers down the street and stuff, and just to keep up the fear factor with them. So I like that part, learning about that. So that was pretty cool. But that was I saw that and I wanted to watch that. Runner, are you back yet? Do you want to do your next pick? Or are you still gone?
I'm here.
Okay, you ready for your next one? Well, it was Hatchet.
Oh, okay.
It was a horror movie.
Okay.
No, wait, hold on, real quick though. How many does each of you guys got left? Because I only got one.
I got 4.
I only got one left, but it's 2 movies.
See, I got 4 picks left, but it's all in one franchise.
So how many you got left, Tom?
Let's see here. Okay, I got 1, 2, 3 left.
3. Okay, so how do you guys want to do this? Because we're going to go to your next, Runner, so...
Unless you want to... How many does Runner got left?
I got 4, but it's all in one franchise.
Oh.
I got 1, but it's one franchise. It's 2 movies, but it's one franchise.
Do you want me to like do 2 in a row then, or what do you want to do here?
Yeah, we could do that if you want to do it.
How about this? You, Greg, and Tom can show their picks, and then I can show off mine because I know we're all gonna talk about this whole franchise.
Yeah, I know what it is already.
Yeah, I already told you.
We could probably do that, I guess, because about as much as we'll talk about these. Because this is one I'll do right away. Because as you see here, right on top. I've already talked about this movie, but we got the 4K release from Turbine, which is excellent.
I do like that cover.
The only thing I got to complain about is I wish they had an English translation in the booklets and stuff, but I mean, it's just a beautiful package all around. The only other complaint is I wish the open matte version was available in 4K. Makes no sense, but yeah. We got a Gazette. This is where I can't read it because it's all in German. But and then we got a poster on both posters, some lobby cards, Frank's card, all kinds of neat shit. So yeah, no, great set. It looks amazing, so much better than I thought it would. I don't know what they did for the process for the CGI scenes, but they all look pretty good. Some of them not so much as others, but some of them it almost looks like they scanned the film in 4K and just recomposited the film with CGI elements. And some of them you can tell they must have did some kind of like up convert, but it's not horrible, but you can kind of see like the little pattern that you sometimes get when you're doing like an up conversion of some sort, or maybe it's from a scrubbing to try and take out some of the over excessive grain from those shots. Either way, I was very impressed. I was scared this was going to be scrubbed to hell considering Peter's past. I am pleasantly surprised, and I can recommend it highly considering from what I've heard, you may not be able to get your hands on it for a couple of years. Not only do you get the original 4.5 or close to 5 hour documentary that's carried over from the original Laserdisc that was on the Blu-ray and DVD before this, you also get a brand new documentary on here, which is really nice as well. In this 6-disc collection, 2 4K Blu-rays, 1 the theatrical cut, 1 the director's cut, and then 4 Blu-rays of the movies, the open matte version of the director's cut, and special features. There you go.
Nice. I really wish I could. Yeah, I really wish I could afford that.
Anyway.
Yeah, I really wish I could afford that because I know I'm not going to be able to get it before it comes back. But man, that looks awesome. That looks really awesome. I'm really glad that it's a great scan because I was worried myself about Peter Jackson and how he likes to scrub things up. Errol Thomas, Shaft 1971 is on 4K. Tom and Runners both have it, and I should be getting mine.
Criterion. Yeah.
It does Criterion, look good.
So. Yeah. Just say I just want to.
It comes with the second film.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Real quick before we talk a little more, how would you do 48 Hours 3?
I think Nick's too old now.
Yeah, I think the time for that's gone.
Hey, speaking of Shaft, like literally a few weeks ago, they played the Isaac Hayes song in the radio. That was fucking rad. I was literally on my way to work, and there was like one station like for that like the one day. They rarely do it, but they played like old like songs for movies and stuff, or just like soundtracks for movies and whatnot, and they instantly just play the Shaft theme. I was like, fuck yeah.
Cool.
The only way I could see them doing another 48 Hours movie, and this is a real stretch because Nick is way too old. He'd be way retired by now as a cop. Is if you have like Gans and Billy Boy's kids that are grown up now are trying to take revenge on Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte, and they have to work together to figure out what the fuck's going on. Something to that effect. Because otherwise, and even that's kind of thin. Like, because there's no real reason for them to really do anything. It's not like Lethal Weapon where there's a potential for more. Like another 48 hours is stretching it as far as you can.
Yeah, that's true. But glad to know that Frighteners looks good. I know we've talked about it a bunch here on here, and you just did your show rated A movies, A rated B movies. Talked about Frighteners.
I have a question. Wasn't Arrow supposed to release a 4K of that?
I don't know. I did hear something maybe that they would, but
I think the rumor came that it was going to be Arrow because it's Universal, but it ended up being Turbine.
Yeah.
Unless Arrow's going to release it in the UK, but I don't know. This is a German release.
I was going to say, isn't that like a limited edition thing too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But according to a couple different places now, I'm not saying it's for sure, but from what I've heard from a couple different places is it's not going to be available for a couple years.
Yeah, a few years. And like Victor Fontaine said, you could. He said, "Damn you, Tom, you made me drop $70."
Sorry.
Yeah, that's usually the thing. It's like I haven't seen the movie.
That's the thing. I can't necessarily justify $70, but
yeah, that's what I said. I wish I had the money. I would buy it, but I just don't have the money at the moment for that. So Thank you, Christmas.
Yeah. And as far as casting
my
Nick
God,
as a
yeah.
police captain, dude's 81 years old. He'd been like several years retired by now, probably.
Yeah,
That's the
big
problem we
time.
have. And I don't think he's wearing that 80 very well. I haven't seen him lately, but yeah. I don't know
Yeah,
about
Nick
it.
Nolte's. I don't.
It'd be
Last time I saw him, he
different if
wasn't
he
doing too
was.
good.
I mean, if he was a spry 80 and you could maybe fudge it for 15 years, you could be like he's on the verge of retirement, but even that's stretching it. Because we've been that many years into the thing, and he was already kind of a 30s, almost 40s or whatever cop in the first movie, so yeah. Anyhow, no, I don't want to dash anybody's hopes or anything. I just highly doubt there's a chance of a third one ever happening.
Yeah, they probably not. But I mean, at least you got the first two. So.
And then you want me to do another one quick?
Oh, sure, if you want to.
Because then I'll only have one left.
Yeah, all I have is
one left. All right.
Yeah, all I have is one left myself. Well, it's two movies, but it's one.
One. Speaking of A-rated B movies and B-rated A movies, one we talked about this last week, and of course I had to watch for it, and it also got a 4K remaster from Warner Brothers, and that is Christmas Vacation.
That was mine. Probably be bringing mine next week. So.
Yeah, I'm not as impressed by the scan. I know some people have questioned whether or not it's come from the negative because of not being able to find anything from Warner Brothers on that, which is very strange. Normally, if they do a scan from the negative, they will put it in some kind of press release. Cannot verify that this comes from the negative. I think it's from the same scan from 2014, 15, whatever it was when they remastered the Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think was just a scan of probably whatever interpositive they had at the time. So, not exactly happy with this release. There's no new special features. The only real upgrade is the 5.1 soundtrack. Now, I didn't compare it to the other Blu-ray, but I've seen some Blu-ray comparisons online. It's a serviceable difference from what I could tell.
Did you notice the blue wash? Did you notice that?
Not really.
No, really? Okay.
But I wasn't really paying that much. Like, to me, it looked more orange,
really?
To be honest with you. It felt like there was more of a warm tint to it.
I saw that picture where like the Blu-ray looked nice and like normal color, and then the blue over the house looked kind of like way too blue. So I was curious how that actually played out because I haven't watched it yet. Like I said, I'll probably be bringing mine next week. So
yeah, I don't know. I didn't really notice any too much of a blue hue. If anything, I noticed too much of an orange hue in some scenes. But it wasn't nearly as bad. But it kind of reminded me of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles Transfer.
Oh boy.
In a sense, but not that bad. Not that bad.
Not that.
But
not
the
as
5.1 mix was a nice upgrade. Although, why just not do a Dolby Atmos at this point if you're gonna do that? Like,
true.
Not that this movie screams for one, but it is the biggest one of the National Lampoon's movies. At least you could do is give it some prestigious.
Yeah, give it a little
something. All it has is this commentary on it, which is not the best commentary in the world. It's all right, but I mean, it's Chevy Chase sucking his own dick for an hour and a half. I mean.
No, Chevy Chase would never do that. Good night, Brian Bart. Thank you for hanging out with us as always. Appreciate you being here. Well, that's good to know. I'll be able to talk to you more about it next week because I'll be having that, be watching it for then because this is the week coming up is Christmas week. So,
yeah, I'm trying to get my Christmas movies in before after Christmas, and I want to be on the Wednesday after Christmas talking about Christmas movies.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure I will watch some that weekend, but
at least with like the Halloween stuff, when we watch Halloween movies, or horror movies after Halloween, it still kind of plays. But with Christmas movies, it's like you can't keep continuing, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of me.
Yeah. So I guess I'll go to me, and then we'll figure out what to do after that because this is my last pick. I do not have the 4Ks of these, but I recently just watched them with the kids because they wanted to see them, and that's the Home Alone movies, 1 and 2. Yeah, I watched the thing with the kid. My kids is that they do not sit still at all through movies. They don't like to watch TV, and they sat still through the first one, and they loved the first one. The second one, they got a little antsy. They didn't quite like him in New York. They liked him when he was home alone in his house.
Which is funny because I would think the second movie has more for kids to get into.
Which is weird, but yeah, they
because it is much more cartoony and shit.
Yeah, they didn't like the New York. They didn't care. They was like they wanted him to be back at home and sledding down the stairs in the sled again.
Well, they have a point. They're like, Dad, the movie's called Home Alone, not New York Alone. What the fuck?
Yeah. So they didn't I mean, they sat through it. They made it to the end, but they got a guy and got antsy. But luckily, when Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, when he's torturing them in the house in New York, they really loved that in the skeleton scene. So, yeah, but it's fun. I had not seen the Home Alone movies in a couple years, actually. I didn't watch them last Christmas, and it was fun to see the 90s again.
I got the first one in 4K last year, I think. Steelbook, whatever it was, the year before, whatever it came out.
Does it look good on 4K? Because I watched this on
pretty good.
I was gonna say I watched this one on the 4K TV on the 4K player, and the scan for the first movie looked really good. So
that might have been the remaster one they did, because it's been on Blu-ray a couple times.
I believe this was the last Blu-rays they released before Disney bought them.
Probably, I think it's probably all the same scan, but I don't know how new that scan was when they did it, but I mean, it was decent enough.
It's cool because I was thinking about getting them, but I had fun watching them, and they were a good time. That's some Christmas movies, getting them in the spirit. So, the Wet Bandits. Now we're the Sticky Bandits. But yeah, that was my picks for the night. So,
what was your last pick? I'm sorry. I was out for a bit.
It was the Home Alone movies.
I was going to say Debbie Does Dallas.
Debbie Does Dallas and Debbie Does Dallas too, which you can actually buy.
Someone said Wet Bandits in the trailer, so in the chat, whatever. So that kind of gave it
away. Runner, Debbie Does Dallas and Debbie Does Dallas Part 2 are both on Vinegar Syndrome. You can buy them there.
Maybe I will, and you guys will stop making that fucking joke.
I don't even know why I started saying that, but yeah.
Wait,
good old fashioned.
Was it a Blu-ray or a 4K?
I have the Blu-rays. I don't have the 4Ks, but I have the.
What does your Blu-ray look like? I have a set that's similar to that. It doesn't come with the individual discs. I'll show you my set.
But it's fun. It's very 90s. Something about the 90s lately. I've been saying a lot, so it was kind of fun to relive the 90s again.
This is the one I have.
Oh, that's similar to the one I have.
It's similar, but it's a re-release because it only comes with one box, not two.
Oh.
This was the re-release that Fox did before Disney bought them.
Yeah, see, I think I have the old scan, and then I have the 4K. So.
Not bad. Merry Christmas.
Because I got mine when they first. Yeah, because I got mine when they first released Home Alone 2 on Blu-ray, because that was one that took forever to come to Blu-ray. Home Alone 1 had had a Blu-ray for a while.
I watched this almost every Christmas weekend or any Christmas week.
Runner was busy setting all the traps around his house.
Listen, if there were people after me, I would do that. I absolutely would.
The next thing, so a young kid was found beaten to death in his
no, I would have been the one doing the beating. Or at least the traps would.
I do really enjoyed. I forgot how much I enjoyed it, though. As I was watching part 2, even though the kids weren't quite into it, I really enjoyed Tim Curry's performance in that. I really enjoyed it, and as I was watching that, I kind of feel like maybe the Wet Bandits were kind of shoehorned into the movie. That maybe the Tim Curry and oh my God, what's his name?
Rob Schneider.
I kind of feel like Tim Curry, Rob Schneider, and that woman were supposed to be the people he faced off against. And it would have been
funnier, and it would have made more sense, like they were trying to get into the hotel room.
Yeah, because it's a lot longer. The second movie is a lot longer than the first movie.
That's true. I was going to say that when you said they didn't.
Yeah, and it kind of feels like maybe it was a Sean Connery situation. like with Highlander 2, that maybe they was like, no, we got to have the wet bandits back from the face. And I kind of think it would have worked better if it was just Tim Curry and Rob Schneider and that woman trying to get into him. I think that might have worked a little better. But I totally get where you had to bring back Joe Pesci and them. I kind of see that too. So it does kind of feel like maybe it was two stories put into one movie. So that's just me. But Tom, you want to go for it? So Runner, yours is all one pick, right?
Correct.
I got one pick left.
I know, because Tom's okay. So what do you got, Tom? But I wish I would have got mine. I don't have mine yet, so.
I did get this recently from Shaw.
I have that one.
Of course.
I love it. It looks so cool.
But it looks good. It's an amazing. And I'm not. And again, this kind of reminded me of Robin Hood, because when this movie first, and that's why it's still plastic. Like,
yeah.
Actually, I think I bought this a while ago. Not that new. It's not that new. I don't know if all the same special features are on it, but I think they are. So that's why I haven't really done anything with it yet. But it looks great. There's a ton of new stuff on here. Again, like with Robin Hood, this time around, I enjoyed it so much more than I did the first time I saw it, or the first two times I've seen it, or whatever.
I love hearing that, because I love Roadhouse.
Yeah, it's a really fun movie this time out. I really enjoyed it. Had a lot more fun with it this time than I did before. I thought there was a poster in here, but I guess not. Maybe there is. No, I guess not. Thought there was. But okay, so you don't get a poster, but you get a booklet, the disc, and the nice metallic box. You know. Oh.
You gotta love Vinegar Syndrome, man. Look at that.
Oh yeah,
That's
they do
beautiful.
a great job, especially compared to.
Yeah, to the Shout, which
was a Shout Select, no less.
Yeah.
It was actually a 2-disc Shout Select, but this is only a 2K scan of the inner positive. This, of course, is a 4K scan of the negatives. So
yeah, and the Shout one's OP now. So,
and I will say, I actually thought, and I'm glad that they had the 2.0 track on here, because more so going with MGM and their shit 5.1 mixes. Because I was started off a little bit with the 5.1 mix, and it just sounded lifeless and limp. I flipped it over to the 2.0, rewound it. Oh my god, it had so much life to it in comparison. So like I found myself with a lot of these 80s films kind of flipping back over to the original stereo track more than I used to. And I used to be all like, oh, it's 5.1, I'm listening to that. You know?
Yeah.
No, I've noticed seems like there's so much more liveliness in it sometimes, and it just feels more atmospheric. And
done that myself, yeah.
Unless you get a really good Dolby Atmos remix, which, speaking of Dolby Atmos remix, the Frighteners, oh my god, that was an amazing remix, by the way. Sorry.
Sounds
amazing. I forgot to mention that earlier.
Nice. Damn it, I wish I had the money for that now, because I really want to get that, and I'm looking forward to getting Roadhouse.
You'll see. As I say, I might end up with an extra one. If I do, we'll see.
Oh, nice.
Because I might be getting one sent to me from Turbine, and I didn't know it until after I ordered mine already.
Ooh.
But they might not, because I already ordered one, so I'll have to find out. If I do get one, maybe I'll ship it off to you like I did.
Nice. I would be eternally grateful. But I'm glad this that, like, with Robin Hood and Roadhouse, that you've, like, after on a rewatch, you've liked them better. I like hearing that. I like saying that, because I know there's tons of movies out there that I probably should give a rewatch to, that I haven't myself, for whatever reason I didn't like when I first saw, but now I probably would like. Maybe it's just something to do with our age, and as we get older or something, all the movies we see nowadays. I don't know.
Yeah, and it looks good. Like I said, there's some new features on it and stuff, so yeah, it's definitely worth a pickup if you can afford it. I mean, it's a bit pricey right now. I see Victor saying in the chat, it's
a bit pricey. Well, right now you can't order it on Vinegar Syndrome, because it's partners only month right now. So you have to wait till this month is over if you want to order from Vinegar Syndrome. But I think you can pre-order it on Amazon. It'll come later, because, like, with Vinegar Syndrome, if you ordered it last month, you're going to get it this month. But if you order it on Amazon, you have to wait a little while. So, but yeah, you have to wait till after.
Oh my god! Speaking of Vinegar Syndrome, you guys will not believe the release we're getting.
Oh, what's
This
that?
is amazing.
Did they just announce it or something?
I guess so. I didn't see it on here before.
Oh yeah, I saw this.
I saw this too.
I just seen it.
I remember seeing that on their website, I think, and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
That's
have
one
to
of their
get that
partners only
shits.
titles.
I might have
That's
to get
what?
that.
It's one of their partners only titles because right now it's their partners only is what they're selling on there.
Oh yeah.
I might just have to get that one.
That's a notorious porn type movie that was showed in UK, I believe, from what I read, and that was pulled from their theaters. So. But I'm glad to hear that Roadhouse looks good. It's ripping thirds, kicking people's asses, banging chicks. How could you not like that movie? Sam Elliott in it. My brother, one of my younger brothers was always so jealous because he's like, "Damn it, I want to grow my hair out like Sam Elliott, and my hair don't grow like that. It's like it grows out to like almost not to be mean here, but like a Jufro. Our hair curls." Starts to curl. Yeah. So he was always so mad because he wanted Sam Elliott's long hair like on his head, but our hair curls up like a Jufro. So
yeah, it's a very testosterone driven film. Enjoyed it quite a bit.
Nice.
Shot really nice too.
Yeah, looks good. I was curious how that. Go ahead.
No, what were you gonna ask?
I was gonna say, how's the scene like? Speaking of which, when like the house is on fire and it's at night and he's fighting that dude out in the water at the motorcycle. How's that?
There's only a few shots that I could tell weren't from the negative.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking very few. So other than that, it looked really well done. Like I said, nice balance overall, considering it's a 1989 movie. I mean,
nice.
I think MGM did the scan, so considering that's not too bad then. Because it doesn't say. I don't think it said that Vinegar did the scan on the thing.
That surprised me.
Research it.
With knowing what we know about MGM, that surprises me.
Yeah.
The Roadhouse Steakhouse chain here in Texas, they have buckets and buckets of peanuts and holes all over the floors.
And that's the thing about Vinegar. If they have any say over the scan, they make sure it's not overly fixed or tweaked with.
Yeah.
Like I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched like the first 5-10 minutes of Amityville just to see how it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there was even stuff in there that a normal studio probably would have scrubbed out. You know, like a few lines and bits that were in the negative and stuff like that. Which, I mean, you could have. I wouldn't have bitched if they did.
Right.
But I'm not pissed that they were there either.
Yeah.
You know, that tells me... So. Well, yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, that tells me that they're not manipulating the picture and they're not fucking with it and taking out too much. Because that's what you get worried about when they do these grain scrubbing is what we're losing in the process of. You know?
Right. It's like certain films I like, you know, Amityville Horror, like those 70s like type films. I love seeing the grains and the little like flicker lines and the bulbs. I love seeing that. Maybe like later, like late 80s, 90s, if they want to scrub a little bit, that's fine, but don't scrub it to where it's like plastic people.
Really, by that point, they started getting lighting so good that you shouldn't have to.
Exactly. That's
like they started figuring out the exact balance they needed for certain things. Like the early 80s, they used some shit film stocks. You know, yeah, some of those I can understand. Like look at Highlander.
Mm-hmm.
A perfect example of a grainy ass 80s film shot on a specific type of film stock that even made it grainier than it probably would have been otherwise. But you know what? I give Studio Canal tons of credit for not scrubbing the hell out of this picture.
Mm-hmm.
Because it looks gorgeous. Now, like I said, is it leaps and bounds above what the Blu-ray we got recent years was? No. Because it's from the same fucking scan.
Yeah.
But what you do get is a little bit more clarity, a lot better color gamut, and it's just you get to see the grain, you get to see the film and the detail, and I love how it looks. I mean, considering it's a couple-year-old scan, I got to give them credit for how good it looks. So, and as far as I know, this disc is pretty much the same disc as the one I already had, so that's why I didn't open it or nothing.
Well, there you go. At least you still got it in the wrapper, so that's pretty cool.
It even has the Studio Canal label on it, so there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah. So that's cool. Yeah, but I agree with you, like with the grain and stuff. That's a great example. But Runner, you want to go? Is it you're going to show off all four? It says this one franchise, right?
Yes, it's all one franchise. I'll try to rapid fire through all this.
I'm coming for you.
Son of a bitch, you had to spoil it.
What are we fighting for?
All right, so
Do we get to win this time?
yes.
John Kreese is in part 2.
Well, that's up to you, John.
So I got the Rambo movies, First Blood. I got part 2.
Were they only like on sale for like $5 or something like that?
Yes, on Best Buy.
That's a good deal. Yeah.
Yeah, that is
It's
a good deal.
Very good deal. So Rambo 3 and Rambo.
You didn't get the last one.
Because it wasn't on sale.
Oh.
It's the only one that's not on sale.
Last
I don't
Blood.
That's all right. You can only get the director's cut on digital anyway.
Yeah, which I still need to get that.
Unless you import it, I guess.
Like the director's cut of Last Blood?
Yeah.
You can't get it on 4K or
No.
Blu-ray?
No.
Oh, no shit.
Not unless
The
you import
director's cut, you can't. But
Yeah, it's
the movie you can.
Do you know of the differences or?
Yeah, I remember we talked about them.
I watched because I have the Blu-ray set of all 5 films, and I watched Last Blood on I didn't watch it on the Blu-ray. I watched it digitally through Vudu.
Okay, the version you watched, did it have the flood scene in it?
Flood scene?
No, then you didn't see the.
Yeah, if you did
The way you said that, because here's a funny story about this movie. When it came out, we did a roundtable review of it because Andre and I are huge Rambo.
Oh, you told me this.
So we had Mr. H and we had Matthew Kadish. Yeah. And Matthew didn't like it at all, really. I liked it, but I'm like, it felt like it could have been more.
Yeah.
And Andre and Mr. H loved it. As we got talking through the story, we're talking, and sooner or later, Mr. H finally pipes up at Matt because he just got tired of Matt dogging the movie. He goes, "What fucking movie did you fucking see?" And he's like, "The same one you did." He's like, "No, I'm starting to think you didn't see the same fucking movie." Like he was being facetious. But lo and behold, a week later, we found out there's an international version and there's a US version. And not only that, the international version runs like, 10 minutes longer or more?
Yeah.
It's like, there's a whole opening sequence. There's a bunch of shit between the brothers. I think there's a little bit in the end, too, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember that part. But there's like little bits and pieces added throughout here. I'm like, now, once I saw that, like, this completely changes the tone of the opening of the film. Like, it's...
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck did they do to this movie? And it's only a few minutes. It's like, you really had to cut it out just to get it under 90 minutes? Really?
Yeah.
Which is weird because even on the info for the theaters in the US, it was listed as 99 minutes. And when I got out of the theater, I'm like, that wasn't even 90 minutes with the fucking previews.
Yeah,
like,
because
what
I
the
looked at the
fuck?
runtime. I looked at the runtime for the digital version, and it's like it was like an hour 20 something minutes. I'm like,
yeah,
holy
it's
shit.
short. They
Yeah.
cut the shit out of the US version.
Yeah, I was like,
I
damn,
wonder
this is
why,
short of
that
this
for
movie.
real, other than just
I'll
time
be-
restraints.
I'll be honest though, I kind of liked Last Blood. I'll say
Oh,
that.
I
like
love
Last
the
Blood.
movie.
I love it.
My gripe is, why didn't we get it? Because it's only 10 minutes. It's not like the movie was 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I can see them understand, okay, fine, shave off 10, 15 minutes. No, the movie's still 99 minutes. That's well within the range of the hour. Because look at every one of those movies you got in your hand, Runner. They're all an hour and 45 minutes, except for the first one.
Yeah. Because here's the thing.
Okay,
I'll say
101 minutes. Yeah.
the beginning of Last Blood. The beginning of Last Blood was like, I don't know. It felt like I mean I knew it was gonna go somewhere with the Rambo character, but like it all had to do more so with the girl who goes to Mexico and all that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
And at first I was like, it's like because for a while I forgot that I was watching a Rambo movie.
Well, in the two cuts of John Rambo, which is weird, is that there is a difference between them, and it's not like the international cut
This
of
movie?
Last Blood. Yeah, there's two cuts on there.
Yeah, I know. I've only seen the extended cut.
Well, there's a difference. That one's actually the less violent version, believe it or not.
Seriously?
That's the more character-driven version. Yes.
Oh, no shit.
The theatrical cut is the R-rated American kick you in the ass version.
Oh, I want to see the theatrical cut now.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's some cool shit. I wish he would just do an ultimate cut where he cuts in the stuff that's different between both of them into one movie. Because really, it's really minuscule bits, but like there's a little less violence and the blood and gore in the other version, but there's a few added scenes and stuff in there in the extended cut. And then the other version has less of the character scenes, but more of the straightforward action killing shit. And I think it adds a bunch of him killing more and shit like that, like more visceral shit.
Yeah. Which is crazy. And I'm really surprised that Stallone, he didn't get the...
Which is kind of similar to this cut if you think about it, because it does. It takes a big character chunk out of Rambo in the beginning. Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's what I was gonna say. I'm kind of surprised that Stallone didn't get that character cut back into The Last Blood. How come he didn't get that in there? What happened with that? Why it was cut out for American audiences? It's just it's really.
I think it's Millennium Pictures because, like I said, they did the same thing to Rambo or John Rambo.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, if you think about it, because it's the big difference between John Rambo and the other cut is they have the flashback scene, right? The dream sequence.
Yeah.
And a couple other things where he's really still dealing with his past, like all that's cut out of the theatrical cut, if I remember right.
It's craziness. But that is
where
really
actually used the suicide scene.
Yeah. Which is it boggles the mind, man. But and Craig, I wish I would have watched that stream you guys did because that would have been pretty funny to see that how
is it still up?
They both thought they were talking.
Oh yeah, but we
movies.
didn't figure it out on the show. So
I know you just figured it out later.
We're kind of like all at odds with like Andre and Mr. H loving the film, and me just kind of like I liked it alright. There's things I would have done a bit more here, there, a little differently, but like I still enjoyed it. I mean, it was really quick. I kept saying that I'm like it was not as long as they said it was going to be. And it kind of started to dawn on me. And then there was an article out there or whatever. The article came out roughly the same time as somebody told me that there's a version online because somebody else had watched that version for their, that they downloaded so they could watch it or whatever. And they were talking about it. I'm like, that's not in the movie. I'm like, yeah, it is. I'm like, no, it's not. And then Andre, no, I remember now. It was like Andre and I were talking. That's right. Again, after the fact. Because he said, here, use this picture. Because we were doing a video about it. And he goes, here, use this picture. I'm like, this isn't even in the movie. I don't even know what movie this is from, to be honest with you. I thought it was Rambo, but it's not. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, this isn't in the movie. It was him on the horse with the black outfit.
Right.
I'm like, I know these came out in tandem with Rambo, but I think this is a different movie or something, or these are just like behind the scenes or something or other, because this isn't in the movie. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's in the movie. I'm like, no, it's not. He never dresses like that in the movie. And Andre's like, what the fuck? Because like at that point, we kind of figured something's up. Mm-hmm. And then the article came out, I think, like the very next day or that same day of, like that him and I kind of figured it out. Because I was like, what the fuck do you mean it's in the movie? Because that's what I got. Because I had it in my, because he sent me like 3 or so pictures of him with the Stetson and on the horse, with all that business, the big trench coat. Like, this ain't in the fucking movie. He's like, yeah, it's in the flood scene. I'm like, what fucking flood scene?
That had to be like to be a fly on the wall in that conversation.
We were. We're just like, I was like, and I'm starting to put the chips together slowly. And I'm like, you know what, Andre? I think there's 2 different versions of this movie. And sure as shit, that article came out, and I'm like, oh yeah, there it is. And then somebody else also did later, and that's where I got it mixed up. Somebody else did tell me they downloaded and they verified the version online was the international cut because it was from some cam online. That's where I got mixed up with that. Sorry. But
No,
yeah, so yeah, it was just one of those things of like, what the fuck is all this all about? But Rambo, funnily enough, speaking of chopping movies down, I don't know how much of the behind the scenes stuff you've watched of that Rambo movie, A Runner, and I don't even know what's all on those Blu-rays anymore because
which movie, which Rambo?
the
movie?
first one,
the first one.
Oh, First Blood.
First
Okay.
Blood.
the very very first one, because that movie has a bit of a history to it.
Oh,
Mhm.
I know. It like it would have ruined Stallone's career, so he just like cut. Like he cut a bunch of it out. He like cut the dialogue out. You know, I told my dad that story that you told me. Like,
yeah, he almost tried buying the film back so he could destroy it.
Yeah.
Nobody would ever see it.
yeah, I told my dad that story, like, cause
He's like, there
My-
goes
my-
that Rocky 2 money.
I told my dad that story because my dad, he's the one who introduced me to Rocky when I was a kid, and I just love that movie, and then I've like come to watch Rambo later on. But my dad was like, the only movies he ever likes that Stallone has done were Rambo and Rocky. It's like either one of those movies, but he tells me like almost anything else he does, he just doesn't like because he thinks they're bad. Because I told him about his other movies Stallone has been in, and he's like, "Oh, I hear that's a stinker." Like that's what my dad's like that.
He's done
And
lots of great movies.
Yeah, I know. I keep telling him that. I'm like, Stallone is fucking like, Stallone is the shit. like he's done a lot more than just Rocky and Rambo. I mean, those are arguably his best. I'll tell you that. But you know, like he's had a lot of great flicks.
What about Rhinestone? Just kidding. Just kidding. Yeah, that's not one of his better movies. Just going.
Because I think I told him about like Cobra, and he's like, "Oh, I heard that was
Cobra's
a stinker."
awesome.
I haven't seen it, but I heard it's good.
I just found out because I talked to plug here for my channel, by the way, Austin Trinick, the author of the Canon Film Guide. We just talked about that. Turns out that's a bit of a Christmas movie, Cobra. So, check that out.
I'll probably watch that then because I have it on Blu-ray from Shout. I just haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
Crime is the disease. I'm the cure.
And I told my dad about the whole story where Stallone like cut the movie. Like I told him that like First Blood was gonna be a completely different fucking movie than the one that we have right now.
Yeah, it's very different.
Well, and Stallone changed it a lot from the novel too, because in the novel, John Rambo doesn't even have a first name. He's just Rambo. He's like a machine. Once he turns on, it's like he is kind of the villain of the book, because the way the book goes is it goes chapter by chapter. You're going Teasel Rambo, Teasel Rambo, Teasel Rambo. Teasel's kind of set up as more of a hero because he's from a forgotten war, while Rambo's from the current war that everybody wants to forget. And Rambo, once he gets flipped, he kills everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
goes nuts.
He goes completely fucking nuts. Like I said, he's like a machine, gets turned on, just blows up the town, basically, fucking kills the sheriff, Teasel, and then Troutman comes in, and just like the original ending they shot for the movie, which is funny that because that was the other part of the story. I don't remember if I told you this part, but Kirk Douglas was actually supposed to play Troutman. And he was on board. He was all that business. But as soon as he read the script, he said, wait a minute, I'm not doing this movie. And they said, why? He's like, because I don't want the ending. The ending should be like the book where I kill Rambo. I created him. I should kill him. And they're like, yeah, we're not thinking that's a good message to send. You know, like there's a story to be told here about, you know, the way, and you got to remember, this is a couple years after the book was written. When the book was written, the war was just ending. This is the first time in history where we had really kind of, it used to be called shell shock, but they really kind of differentiated it and understood what PTSD was. In fact, when I watched this movie, I may have said this before, my parents actually kind of sat me down because my dad was a vet. And between this and Platoon, I know I kind of told this story with Platoon, but it's similar with Rambo, because this one specifically had to do with PTSD, right?
Right.
And I don't even know if they had that term yet then. They may have, but I don't know. I didn't know it by that. Nobody really called it that yet.
I think it was just still like you said, shell shock, wasn't it? It was just still
they kind of more refer to it like shell shock, but it was a little different than that in sense. Like, to me, shell shock sounds like, you've been around bombs too much, so you're a little jumpy. Like, this is actually like, it's just very, it's something that's really fucked with a lot of guys, and it's really emulated in that scene. And I have said to this day, even though people make fun of Stallone because you can't understand some of the things you're saying, once you actually realize what he's saying, he's giving the performance of a lifetime there, and he should have got an Oscar for it. Yeah. He's like, over there, I was in charge of $1 million equipment. Over here, I can't keep a job parking fucking cars.
Right.
He's like, what the fuck is wrong with me? You guys made me into this machine. You can't just turn that off.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the message that I think that the makers and Stallone specifically are like, yeah, if we kill Rambo, that's sending the wrong message.
Mm-hmm.
So Kirk Douglas is like, I'm out. I'm not doing this. Not unless you do that ending. And they're like, well, it sucks because we would really like you to be in it. But if that's the way you feel, sorry. And they cast, the last minute. What's his name? Jesus, I just forgot his name.
Oh, yeah.
Look at your cover there, Runner. What's his name?
Yeah, what's his name? The guy.
Krenner. What's his first name?
Cover of which?
First Blood.
Probably better off looking at 3. He's like the second name on there. Richard Crenna.
Yeah, Richard Crenna. There you go.
Yeah, Richard Crenna. Yeah.
Yeah. So they got him at the last minute. And to me, that was an inspired choice, because moment he walks in, he goes, you send that many men up there, don't forget one thing. A hell of a lot of body bags. Like, he is pitch perfect, exactly what you need. And I think that Kirk would have done it differently and done it wrong. Because Richard Crenna plays it pitch perfect until the end when he has that moment, which we have to have, where he has to have it, not Rambo.
Yeah. I think Richard Crenna brought the sensitivity to it.
Exactly, because he has that fucking moment where he's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I couldn't have seen Kirk Douglas breaking down like that.
This is my fault. This is the government. We did this to this kid. And in that moment, even though it goes against every fiber in his body, he puts his arm around Rambo and says, it's going to be okay, son.
Yeah.
Goes against everything those two have been taught to do. Like, people don't understand that fucking scene as important as it is. Because in that moment, that was all of the vets who'd never got any respect. And what some of them just needed was a hug or a helping hand or somebody just to tell them it is okay.
Yes.
You didn't do it, you were there under, completely you were either drafted or false circumstances, whatever it was. Nobody blames you for what you did or had to do over there, right? Like, in most cases, not all, but most cases, right? So you have a situation where very good men were put in positions where they had to do some very bad things. And not only that, a lot of these guys are, learning now of all the shit that they're getting from there, and they're not, getting the help they need and whatnot. So, like, this, to me, was a moment in time where what normally is seen as just like a regular action movie, and the sequels didn't help that.
Yeah, the sequels went full-blown 80s action. Yeah, but that first movie, I agree with you.
That scene itself should have won Sylvester Stallone an Oscar nomination. Maybe not won the Oscar, but at least a fucking nomination.
Him and Richard Crenna.
Richard for supporting actor, yeah. I agree.
And I agree. I wasn't sure when you said Richard Crenna. I'm like, who are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, he's that dude. Yeah, he was great. He was so I mean, yeah, I do agree.
He's trained to eat things that would make a Billy go puke.
It's over. Oh my God,
it's over.
So good.
But it's like you said, like when the book was written, it was like it wasn't that far removed from the war, so people, that was sort of thing.
Not
but by
only
the
that,
time
you just had the Manson murders.
Yeah.
Hippies and stuff like that were kind of seen in Rambo was kind of posted as kind of like this anti-war, but yet he's programmed by the war. It's been a while since I've read the book, but it's very similar but different. Like the big vast difference beside the ending is Rambo doesn't kill anybody in the movie. He does in the book.
Yeah.
He kills all the
He killed
motherfuckers.
everybody. Yeah. And then, like with the movie, it was far enough removed from Vietnam and the book era where people were starting to sort of see these
Exactly my
like
point,
that,
yes.
and like it totally, yeah, you had to get that. And I didn't know about the Kirk Douglas thing, but I'm really glad they went with Richard Crenna because that sensitivity, that scene, that
There's
does
even a
break you down.
poster that I think Drew
So,
Struzan did with Kirk Douglas in it.
oh, really?
Yeah. Like that's how close he got to being in the movie. Like it was up to the wire because they did rewrites on that bastard throughout the film. Jeez, I can't even talk right now.
Makes sense though, man. But I'm glad it turned out the way it did because it's that first one is a really truly great classic film with a really heart ripping ending. That's
I don't know if this is Drew Struzan. It might be. I think it is. Yeah, it is Struzan. Okay, I think he did these for the novel when they did a re-release when they announced the movie, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, so like he was going to do like okay, I get what you're saying.
Or it's an announcement poster thing for Carlco or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See, because this image right here is straight out the novel. That was one of the pictures on the original novel. There you go. Yeah, that's a Struzan drone pit poster.
Nice. Yeah, I just couldn't see that working. I think he would have just played it too rough. Rough.
I agree. Oh, we got a better version of it here. Holy shit, he's got some nice ones out here. Yeah, it looks like this was a newspaper ad. Okay, here we go. It was in Variety. So it was an announcement thing.
Ooh.
There you go. See? But they pretty much already had an idea of what both characters were going to look like already.
I mean, look at Stallone's. He looks a little bit different.
But
yeah, but
he didn't go with too much of the. It's a little higher on the picture, but
yeah, that's pretty cool. I really didn't know about. I don't know why I didn't know about the Kirk Douglas thing. That's weird. I've seen Rambo 100 times. I've read
to the
about
point
it.
Where they even have all the credits here. The only thing that changes is Kirk Douglas. That's how close. Like it was up to the last second there, kind of thing. Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah. But I mean, for some, in some cases, things just happen the way they should happen, and we get the actors that belong in the roles they belong in, and at the right time. It may be stressful at the time when they're making it and losing actors, but it always works out for the better that way. Yeah. So. Yeah. Good pickups there. Are they still on sale? I mean, I got them all, but are they still on sale for anybody out there that wants to pick them up?
I'm not sure. I went to Best Buy yesterday to pick up Highlander, and all of the Rambo stuff were gone from the shelves.
I went and bought that Steelbook set, so I ended up giving away my original Blu-rays that I got for like $12, and that was like 2 or 3 years ago on Black Friday.
Dang. I got all the ones.
I remember like one day. I used to go to this one Best Buy that was like right by where I go to school, but now it's an outlet, so fuck them. and they had one more Steelbook box set of Rambo. I thought about getting it, but it was too expensive. And well, actually, I could have.
How much is it going for now?
Probably $100. I don't know. I wanted to get that box set, but I kind of like given up. So then Best Buy as of recently does this holiday sale, and I'm like, oh, this is great. Cause here's the thing, I had bought this copy I think like months ago.
Right.
I forgot when, but like this was like months ago when I got this. This was part of the sale. I didn't have the other Rambo movies, so I didn't have 2, 3, or the fourth one. So I bought those for the sale, and I'm like, fuck, that's a steal,
That's a good deal. I mean,
that's a really good deal. So I was super happy about that. I bought some other. It was like it was all just. It was like the Lionsgate titles and stuff.
Yeah.
At least some of them, and So the first one's obviously a masterpiece. It's great. I could watch that almost any time. I'll say this about Rambo 2 just to get that on. So I like it. I'd say this. First time trying to watch it, I thought it was I thought it was super slow for me.
It's aged the worst of them all, which is funny because I think that one's actually not. Actually, that one's only like 90 minutes too. Now that I think about it,
I like Rambo too.
So here's the thing. Like,
what do you guys?
The beginning, like here's the thing. The beginning of this is like, it goes pretty slow for me at least. But then once Stallone is just kicking ass, like that's when it's like, that's just when it's like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, this is awesome.
What do you think about the whole thing where they're trying to say that that's John Kreese in Rambo 2? What do you think about that? Because do they actually name him in that movie? What is his name?
Yeah, I think he's got a name in it.
I was gonna say, what is his name? Because like some people are starting to say, like, well, what if that's actually just John Kreese in Rambo 2? And I'm like, I think he has a name in that movie.
Yeah, let me look.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone say that.
Oh, I've heard it. I've heard some people starting to do it now.
That doesn't add up time-wise either.
I mean, that's an interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't add up.
It doesn't really add up now that I think about
Erickson is his name.
There you go.
Okay. There we go. And then there's Rambo 3. This is probably
which didn't age at all. Like it's bad, just in general.
Yeah,
hey, Rambo you want to start the Taliban?
Yep.
This is probably my least favorite of all of them. I'm not sure.
The most memorable scene is in the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie where the fight, and after that it goes all downhill from there.
Oh, the fight with the sticks and all that.
Yeah, the glass and all that business.
Yeah.
And that's only good because we got the parody in Hot
Shots Part 2. I love that movie. The bloodiest movie ever made.
Because unfortunately, that movie kind of nailed it on the head. Like, yeah, that's kind of what these are. And then, of course, Rambo came back and saved it all. So
yeah, and that's a really great movie.
I loved Rambo 2 growing up, but no, like to me, rewatching Rambo 2, it did not age as well. Like you really start to see the bubblegum and tape in the movie.
Really?
Because yeah, well, for one, you can realize they're reusing the same fucking shots like 3 or 4 times for the blow-ups, like explosions.
Yeah,
it's the same shit.
Yeah, when it's like the Weird Al thing when he's blowing them all up, and they kept showing it over and over in the Rambo movie.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I mean, the concept's good, but it's.
Well, here's the thing: the beginning is slow until like all the crazy action and explosions happen, and Stallone's kicking ass. Like that was like the best part of the fucking movie.
I'm not convinced that James Cameron didn't get his hands on it. Because didn't Missing in Action actually get written before Rambo 2? But they came out around the same time. Because they shot 2 Missing in Action movies for technically the first one even came out. Was it the first one like 84? Or is that 85?
The first one was the second one's 85. The first one's 84.
So yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Is if Cameron just didn't like, you know what? I'm gonna rip this fucking story off.
I'm just gonna rip off Missing in Action too.
Because if you didn't know that, Runner, James Cameron wrote the story treatment for Rambo 2.
Oh no shit.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
But
now he's making Avatar movies.
I know. Oh, isn't the Abyss?
It just goes with my theory that James Cameron doesn't have an original bone in his body. As much as we like to think about it, he got sued for the Terminator.
That's true. He did.
Terminator 2 is the same fucking movie. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but it's the same damn movie, scene for scene, word for word, beat for beat, just different characters saying the same lines.
Yeah.
True Lies is a fucking remake.
Oh, True Lies is a remake? What's the remake?
It's a French movie originally.
Oh, yeah. The French, yeah.
He didn't even want to make that. Like, probably the most original thing he ever worked on, I think, was Strange Days. He wrote that, but he didn't direct it. I think Catherine Bigelow directed it, if I'm not mistaken.
Is that with Ethan Hawke?
Yes, I think so, yes. That futuristic one that came out like 96, I'm going to say, something like that.
Let's see. Strange.
Something like that, 95, 96, somewhere in there. Maybe
95.
Earliest. Oh, yeah, I was going to say, yeah, in that era.
95, yep.
So honestly, I'm to this point where I'm just not so sure that James Cameron has ever really had an original idea. He's really good at giving you something at making something familiar feel new. That he's good at. And he's a very, very good filmmaker. But my mom watched the fucking Avatar trailer, and she loves shit like the Hallmark movies where the dogs talk and shit like that.
Yeah.
So it's not like she's the highest caliber critic in the fucking world. She loved the first Avatar. She saw the trailer for the second one for the first time over Thanksgiving, and she goes, "Oh, is that a new movie?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's the new one." "Oh, it looks just like the first one," she said. There you go, James. Good thing you waited 13 fucking years. Yeah. My mom can't tell the difference. That means you done fucked up.
Yeah. And I love how he's starting to say, well, the third one is, we designed it in a way where it can be the end of the franchise.
Yeah. Well, no, he said you have to reshoot it, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, my mom even was one of those that when I said something about the female Ghostbuster movie, she's like, the one with all the girls? I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, that one wasn't too bad. Mom.
Mom, no. That's the thing. My mom would probably love that movie too.
So if my mom says that shit, like, yeah, that's not boding well for James Cameron. Sorry, kids.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to go on a venture.
No, that makes sense. But yeah, I got all those too, Runner, but I have all the slip covers to all those rainbows, to those 4Ks.
Oh, you lucky son of a bitch.
Your worst nightmare.
Dude, the Lionsgate slip covers fucking smash.
I'm not as big of a fan as the Steelbooks. I almost kind of like had regret after buying.
I only have The Last Blood on a steelbook. That's the only one I have on a steelbook.
And I think your Last Blood Steelbook is cooler than mine. If I wasn't the biggest of fan of the art that they did with it. So I kind of had buyer's remorse afterwards. I was like,
yeah. It's not the best of the artwork, but my steelbook, I love it with the knife and stuff. Oh, it's badass. I love that steelbook.
I still have it. Speaking of steel, I should go grab it quick. Because I don't think
Shaquille O'Neal?
No. I have a steel box set. Yeah, I wish. No, I'm kidding. No, I don't wish. I don't like that. I have a steel covered Rambo set when it was still before Lionsgate, when it was Artisan. I think there's a bunch of documentaries and stuff on there that aren't on the discs that were carried over.
Huh?
Or that weren't carried over, I mean.
Nice.
But see, now that set that was before they found the ending, the alternate ending and all that shit too. That's an old ass set. Okay. So old motherfucker's rusting.
That's my Highlander one I have with the Queen CD.
Mine's still in decent shape on that one, but my Rambo one just went to rust real quick.
Oh, really?
I can't find my Terminator steel cover wherever that went.
Yeah, I have. I never got
one
the
for Terminator 2
that
DVD that had when it first came out.
Yeah, with the steel one cover. Yeah.
That was like the coolest fucking cover ever when that came out.
I know, I remember it. And I wish I would have got that. I have the same DVD, but it's just a slip cover, plain slip cover. So, and at the moment, that is the 4K. I mean, I know it's bad, but does it contain that director's cut of that or the extra scenes on that 4K of Terminator 2?
Oh
no, it's just a theatrical.
So the DVD is the only one at the moment where you have that cut of the film.
The Blu-ray. But not.
I was gonna say the Blu-ray I think has different cuts.
Oh, okay. Because I still have the DVD of Terminator 2.
Because I remember before I even had a 4K player.
Where you still have to type in Judgment Day to get to it.
On the DVD?
Yeah.
No,
you must have had the Skynet edition or whatever.
Yeah, I have the Skynet edition.
Oh no, I have the old original release where you literally had to enter in the date.
Oh,
it was one
really?
of the first Easter eggs ever. Yeah. Nobody even knew the extended cut was on the movie. Nobody knew at the time it was on the DVD. It doesn't advertise or anything. You type in, what is it, 7992 or whatever it is, or 9792, whatever it is, Judgment Day for Judgment Day that she says in the movie.
September
97. It's fucking Michael Jackson's birthday in 1997.
No, hee.
Which is July 9th, I think. So July 9th, 1997. Yeah. So you type that in because there's a spot like the Terminator head comes up or whatever, and you push over and you get like this thing that comes up on the numbers and you type in the date. And then it flips this thing and you get the director's cut of the movie.
Huh.
But I think you have to be on that because it does advertise that it has the original version and the special edition. But to get to the ultimate special edition, you have to do that. You have to go to the special edition menu and then go in to do it and type it in. And it's like, at that time, that was the first time I'd ever experienced an Easter egg kind of thing outside of mall rats, which kind of made them obvious.
Yeah,
Like those weren't really Easter eggs. Those were kind of.
it's funny.
Yes, Peter. Now that's a fucking Easter egg.
Yeah,
It was
I
August
did not know
29th,
that.
97. Thank you, Tyrell.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I did not know that because I've always had the Skynet DVD, so I did not know that that was on the other one.
Yeah,
That
you
is
actually
funny.
had to go in to watch the third director's cut because there's 3 different cuts of the movie.
That's cool.
And on the Blu-ray, I think I don't know. Do you still have to do that or not? I don't know if you have to do that. I think you just have to go over a certain way to get that third cut.
I know on my Memento DVD, there you got to do something similar to like that to watch it in canonical order.
I have the
Because you know Memento
Oh,
plays
yeah,
from
I
the
remember
end to the
that,
beginning. Then
yeah.
you can watch it from the beginning to the end. So
Yeah.
And that was
Well,
funny because
that movie
Blair
needs
Witch
a
Project
4K,
was in.
dude.
Yeah, it does.
yeah,
Of course, I don't know how it was shot, but like Blair Witch
I'm pretty
Project
sure
2
it
is
was shot
another
on
one
film.
that I remember also had like a bunch of Easter eggs in the movie itself. Like if you
Yeah.
watch the movie in reverse, there's a
The-
bunch of shit you see that you didn't see the first time around.
it is. It's funny because when you it's called The Secret of Ezra, whatever. It's reversed backwards. Is what it is. So yeah, if you watch the movie backwards in certain scenes, you see certain stuff. It's crazy. I miss those old like Easter eggs and stuff like that back in the day. But is there anything else you guys would say before we close it down?
Oh, I still
I'm
have
good.
something to say about this movie because I didn't get to talk
Yeah,
about
you
Oh,
it.
go
didn't get to
ahead.
Rambo yet.
Yeah, go ahead. Say
Yeah.
it real quick.
This movie is fucking awesome. This movie's fucking great.
Oh yeah, it's phenomenal. I
Yeah,
saw it.
it's a great movie.
Here's the honest to God truth. That movie leaked online early.
No shit.
Really,
Yes.
I didn't know that one.
I saw it like 2-3 months before it came out, and then I loved it so fucking much that I saw it in the theater twice. And I was so pissed that it didn't do better. I'm like, it did well, but I'm like, this movie kicks fucking ass. It's like
Yeah,
Stallone's
it does.
back. Yeah, like it was like fucking yeah, like just kick ass. I love that.
Yeah,
fucking movie.
dude. I mean, I've only seen the extended cut. I'm more interested in watching the theatrical cut because of
It's
all
shorter, but it has more of the blood and guts.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I
that's
think the kill
thing,
counts
'cause-
are different because that movie has like I think up until doesn't that have the most one-on-one kills in a movie? Somebody tell me if I'm wrong. I can't remember because it's like 84 on-screen kills or some shit like that in the theatrical cut of Rambo 4.
Yeah,
I
there's a
think
lot
it's
of
like-
kills in that one.
I think it's only like 70 some in the other cut, but yeah.
I just went and grabbed these real quick to show options.
Now here's
Oh,
the thing: if I would have actually had
dude,
the
the
slip
slip-
covers with mine, I would have
slip-
kept them instead.
Yeah, I have all the slip covers.
The slip covers are so fucking good.
Then my
That one's nice. I like that one.
yeah,
I like that too.
I love that. If I can, yep. Oh, dropping them.
Did you get the digital code for the director's cut with that one, or is that only with that box set?
I think that's only with the box set you have.
Yeah, I
don't
think that was
have
one of my
the-
other motivations for getting it. And then when I found out how cheap it was, I didn't know you could buy it separately on its own. And then I found out you could. And I'm like, well, fuck, I would have just bought it. It's like $7.99. Fuck.
It's cheap.
Actually, I think it was like 13 or 14 still then, but whatever.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad you like that movie, Runner. It's a great film.
Oh yeah, I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I gotta say 1 and 4 are probably my favorite Rambos.
Oh yeah, easily.
It might be
Easily.
in the 90s, Steven. You're right. I'd have to look it up specifically, but I think it has the most on-screen kills in a movie.
Yeah, dude, the kills are like fucking insane. Like they're so good. I mean, this was like have any of you seen the first Expendables?
Yeah, I have seen all of them.
Oh, okay. I have the first 3
I like
movies
the
on-
first 2 Expendables. The third one I didn't much care for.
I have the first
Okay.
3 on I have the collection on 4K, but Like, you know how like, because Stallone directed the first Expendables or whatever, and he
This is
directed
not the
this.
one I'm looking for.
Because like he like Stallone, like of his like movies that he made, like in like the director standpoint, like he kept doing like crazy like violent and explosions and shit, like this movie.
Oh wow, I was way off. It's
So that was great.
198.
For what?
198. Rambo.
For the
Death count.
oh shit.
198.
180 kills.
Now I see now this other list I found, but this other list includes like it's war pictures and it's like a bunch of different people killing people. I believe this is the record for the single most kills by a single person. Now, of course, all of those aren't Rambo, but like a good portion of them are.
Well, when he, like I said, when he gets on that gun and he just starts ripping people in half with that gun. Yeah.
Oh dude, yeah, that was great. And all
Just starts shredding them.
Just shredding like massive amounts of people.
See, now I think that's the scene that got the most cut in the international cut or whatever you want to call it, the John Rambo cut.
Oh, the extended cut?
The John Rambo cut, yeah. And here's the other part that's funny is the version that I saw that got leaked is closer to the John Rambo cut. Because it actually said John Rambo in the beginning. And it had that flashback sequence and shit in it.
Exactly. Yeah, it did say John Rambo in the extended cut when I watched it, and I'm like, is it? Why'd they call it John Rambo? I thought it was just called Rambo. Did they just call it Rambo in the theatrical?
No, but I think that hurt the movie's box office because I think even Sly commented on it at the time. He's like, "The dirty sons of bitches who leaked that movie early. Fuck you." Because instead of making like $80 to $100 million, I think it only ended up, what did it do, like 50 million, I think?
Which one was, oh, no, that was Rocky Balboa. I was remembering that there was one.
No, it did 13 million.
Was it Rocky Balboa or was it Rambo where people were buying tickets for one movie and then they were going in and actually watching the Stallone movie? Which movie was that? I remember hearing about it. People were doing that. I think it might have been Rocky Balboa. I can't remember what movie it opened.
Balboa did okay though.
Yeah, but it could have been Rambo. What opened up against Rambo? That
I don't
part
remember
4.
Offhand. I'm surprised it made over $100 million. I thought it didn't do that well, but it did better than I thought. Because then Rocky actually did better. That did 155. So, yeah. See, but he made both Rambo and Rocky for dirt cheap. That also helped.
Yeah.
So I think Rocky he only spent like $4 or $5 million on, and then Rambo I think he spent 10 or 12. So that was really low budget for both of those, and it made a killing on both of them. So
he brought them both back, and
oh, absolutely. Rocky Balboa was one of those things where like it was going to be a total joke.
Yeah,
but it turned out to be insanely fucking good. And
probably one of the better ones too.
Yeah. Because
I mean, how many people are still quoting that? It's not about how hard you can hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep going. That comes from Rocky Balboa. Yeah. And like people are still quoting that to this day. Yeah, so
and so when Rambo came out after Rocky, I was kind of hyped. And I was really glad when I saw the leaked version and how good it was. I was just so thrilled. I'm like, that's why I went and seen it twice in the theater. So I was like, see it for the 2 times I accidentally, because I felt guilty for downloading
it. You know what's funny? I'm looking this up. I'm looking up the Rambo thing when it opened up at number 2 to Meet the Spartans.
Maybe that's what it was. That's what it was. People were buying tickets to Meet the Spartans because it was PG-13.
Yeah, and then they were going in to see Rambo.
And going in to see Rambo because there was a lot of questioning whether or not Meet the Spartans actually did as well as it did. But
that's why I remember.
I thought the same thing. But then when those came out on video, I'm like, well, I guess that answers that question because guess what? We couldn't keep Meet the Spartans in. People loved that fucking movie for some reason. And if you're one of those people in the chat, you should feel guilty.
That movie sucked so bad.
It's just as bad as another one of those not another movies. And
oh yeah, It was so bad. But yeah, that's what I remember, because I remember people talking about it. It was like
Yes, you're 100% right. I remember that now, because I remember specifically saying that to myself when we couldn't meet the Spartans, and I'm like, well, that answers that fucking question.
Yeah, because people were like,
there may have been some of that, but I don't think as much as we'd like to think.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. But
not only that, at that point, you could pretty much get into an R-rated movie pretty easily in most places. Yeah. Like they had laxed on a lot of that. A lot of this whole like, always when it happens is whenever there's some kind of controversy, and then it dies down after about a year or two. Because I remember it happening when I was in high school. I used to get carded all the time for a bit to get into rated R movies, and I remember we still had to drag along our 17-year-old buddy or whatever, just to get us into some movies sometimes, because that was during the Clinton era. And during the Clinton era, they had a bunch of that shit. Where they would they're like, we need to start making sure kids aren't getting that stuff. Kids can't be getting into movies. It's okay to get a blowjob in the White House, but you better not get one in a movie.
Just imagine how far the times have changed now.
Oh, they got better and then they got worse again. I can't remember what it was. Yeah. Was it Columbine or something like that happened? And then again, people were worried about violence in movies, so they started carding again. And then like the Dark Knight thing happened, and then some other thing. Things will happen here and there, and people freak out for about a year, and then after a while, they just don't give a shit anymore. They'll let a 12-year-old into a fucking R-rated movie after a while. Yeah. They don't care. Especially right now with how shit's hurting. I guarantee you they ain't carding nobody for shit to get into a movie right now.
Yeah, right now they're wanting that money, so they ain't carding nobody.
And that was the thing. When I was younger, I used to be able to go to my local theater all the time and get into R-rated movies. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
When I was old enough. Like at that point, like my parents gave me, they didn't even need to give me the okay, but they just kind of knew, that whatever, the parents are dropping them off. So clearly they know what they're fucking dropping them off to.
True.
The closest I ever came to that had nothing to do with the rating. And I've told this story before because it's Dracula's story.
Oh, yeah.
My cousin and I went to go see Dracula, and my cousin is actually my second cousin because his dad is my true cousin, but he's old enough to be an uncle. So
yeah, he
drove us to the theater to go see Dracula on opening night. And we went up to the box office, and he walked up with us because he knew they would probably give him because it was a bigger city. So he knew they might. So just to be sure, my cousin was pretty young at the time. Like 10, 11 years old, something like that. Not even. Like more like 9. I was like 13, 12, somewhere in there. When did it come out? 92? So I'd have been 12, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so I'd have been 12. And because it was December of 92, I think it was. Or late summer 92, I mean.
Yeah, 1992.
Like September or something like that. And so we get up to the box office, and he's like, 2 tickets for Dracula. And she's like, you do realize it's R-rated and stuff like that. It's a very adult film. And my cousin's like, yeah, they're fine. They've seen shit like this all the time. Like, they just watched like Pet Sematary or whatever the fuck it was we just watched at home. He's like, they'll be fine. Like, they watch that stuff all day long, day in, day out. She's like, no, this is a very adult-oriented story. She's like, nah, they're fine. Trust me. And she's like, all right. So they let us in, and within 20 minutes, I started to realize what the fuck this lady meant. Oh, she meant boring to a 12-year-old.
Yes, it's adult.
Exactly.
Not boobs and murder.
I adore the fucking film.
Yeah, now
as a 12-year-old, I'm like, what the fuck is this? I was promised blood, guts, tits, and Batman, like literally.
Yeah. But it's a very sweet love story.
What's this fucking old dude? What the fuck is this shit? What is this, Romeo and fucking Juliet all of a sudden? No, yeah, so me and my cousin were just kind of staring at ourselves throughout the entire film going, what the fuck is this? Like, the coolest part is watching the wolf hump the lady. Like, at that point, you're like, my God, as a 12-year-old, you can't get into something like that other than that part. So, like, it was just like, ugh. That whole opening sequence is like, this ain't Dracula. What the fuck is this? I just read the book, too. I was like, what the fuck is all this nonsense?
Yeah.
So I was expecting something closer. And then once I got into the movie, I kind of seen some of it, but I was just like, yeah, it just didn't keep my interest at that point as a 12-year-old or whatever.
That happens. I remember seeing it young too, and I didn't think I got it until I got older. Then I was like, oh yeah, I really like this.
Okay, I'm exaggerating. I knew he was an old man. Yes, Dan. I got that part. I was just kidding, but at the time of a 12-year-old, it was not what I was expecting.
Yeah,
I was
not what you
expecting like
expect.
MTV heavy metal Dracula.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what we were expecting. And we ended
Yeah.
up getting, Much Ado About Dracula.
But Gary Oldman, he traveled across
Yeah.
time and whatnot. Any final words here before we close out? We've
No,
3
you're
hours
way
again,
off,
so
way off the beaten path.
yeah.
I'm
Good
going
picks
to get
tonight,
you.
everybody. Yeah.
Hey, yo, Murdoch. Coming to get you. Worst nightmare.
Now I'm just thinking about Weird Al in the beginning of
Dude,
UHF.
the very end of Last Blood is so good. Like in the tunnels and shit.
Yeah.
They drew first blood, not me.
That Last Blood movie, man, it's because
When
I did
they draw
it.
first blood. Sorry,
I
that
did
theme
not.
song.
Yeah, I did not expect it with the girl with her to die like that and that quick in the beginning of the movie.
In
And
Last Blood, yeah,
yeah,
like,
that's what I'm like.
whoa.
Dude, this is a Rambo movie. What the fuck's
Like,
going
he went
on?
for it. I did not expect that either. You're 100. You totally nailed that one on the head.
I didn't expect her to die either. And then like
I was like, he's going to save her, right? Right?
Yeah, right. I thought that
he's gonna
too.
go fuck some Mexicans up.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then she died, and I'm like, oh, it was like
Speaking
Rambo's
of
gonna
Stallone,
be kicking some ass.
And kicking ass. Have you boys seen Tulsa King yet?
I was just I've seen some people talk about it in chat. I've heard it's really good.
Oh my fucking god! Is it stupid? Oh fuck! You guys have to see. It's worth getting Paramount Plus for. That's how fucking good this show is.
Really
nice.
Plus, you get the bonus of Beavis and Butthead and shit. So you might as well get
definitely,
it anyway.
yeah.
So just I can't talk great enough about the show. I can't wait to talk to people about it who've actually seen it, because basic setup is Stallone. He's 70 years old. He's been in prison for 25 fucking years. He did his time. He expected to get out to his own gang and getting praise from the mafia and shit. Oh no, he gets sent to fucking Tulsa. Disrespected.
Some bullshit.
And so he goes to Tulsa, and the first thing he does is take over some weed operation, a dispensary. And the guy's like, what do I need you for? He's like, well, you're going to pay me for protection. He's like, I didn't need any protection until you showed up. That's kind of in a nutshell what it's about. Plus, he's like, trying to reconnect with his family. There's a lot of people in his past that he's got to deal with shit. He's been in prison for so long. It's a brilliant fucking show. And just the part with Last Blood, it all kind of just brought that up to me. Like, oh yeah, that last episode. Holy shit.
Well, Taylor Sheridan does some really great shit.
Oh god, that last episode, you're just like, and you don't even see the shit coming. That's the beauty of this stuff. It's like, oh shit. You're constantly like, oh shit. This is what I remember about classic television, right?
That's why I've been wanting to dying to see that, because I like Taylor Sheridan. I like his. I haven't seen Yellowstone, but I've seen some of his.
And there's this great speech that Stallone gives about what is it with the pronoun.
Oh yeah, I actually seen a clip of that.
Hey, them, they, you. You know what my pronouns are?
I'm gonna have to get onto that because I want to watch that.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing you record that. I forgot what he
fucking
said.
Hilarious.
That was
at the end of the show. Every episode, I'm like, no, because that's the way I want to be. You're like, oh god, no, please, I need more.
Yeah.
Put it in my fucking vein. Just give it to me.
Inject it.
And I'm so glad it got a second season, because we're already almost halfway through this first season, and I was like, oh god, this is gonna be one of those shows I fall in love with.
And then they won't renew it.
Especially after they were talking to Stallone, and he's like, yeah, I don't know about this TV thing. It's a lot of hard work.
He's used to doing the movies,
I'm used to just shooting a movie for a couple of weeks. This TV thing takes a lot of time.
Dolph Lundgren punched me in the face. I mean,
I can put up with Dolph punching me in the face for a couple of days, 8 hours at a time, 15 hours at a time. This stuff, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to spend half my life in Tulsa.
But I'm looking forward to watch that, because I do want to watch
say, Runner?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, whenever I can, probably during winter break, I'll try to binge it if all the episodes.
Yeah, I want to watch that. because Taylor Sheridan is really good. I really did enjoy Hell and High Water, Wind River, and I did see the first. What's that called? With
Well, you're basically like 1 or 2 episodes away from being able to like jump in for like a free month if you can get something like that.
Oh, I just pay for it outright. I don't care.
Yeah, but even if you can't, like, you know what I'm saying though? Like,
yeah.
Binge the first 6 episodes, and then you only got like the last 4 left in a month. So, like, yeah, you know what I mean.
Sicario, thank you. Didn't look right. Actually, I might still have it because I watched Scream 5, which I regret, and I watched Beavis and Butthead, and I watched.
Oh yeah. You might still have it.
Yeah, so I might still have it. I don't know. I haven't turned it. To be honest with you, I really don't turn on my streaming services all too often. I really do.
You should
just
pay attention to some of that shit, though. That takes a lot more money out of your pocket.
I know. That's why I got to pay attention.
That's a movie every month, man.
Yep. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I get it. There's more movies on Paramount, and it's worth it if you're watching it. But like, yeah, I think about that too every time I pay. Oh, there goes the Netflix bill I didn't watch this month.
If I could cancel, I know I monitor Netflix. If I could cancel that son of a bitch, I would cancel that. But the fucking kids watch that Netflix kids shit all the time.
Right. It's not like you're almost stuck with one all the time, no matter what. But yeah.
The 2 I keep, the 3 I keep track of is Netflix, Shudder, and Full Moon, and then the rest I kind of forget about.
Speaking of physical media, Paramount has been really good so far about releasing most of the stuff.
Yeah,
like The Offer just came out on Blu-ray.
Oh yeah,
that's good.
Right.
That's another good show you can watch too. Yeah.
Are they going to release on 4K though?
No, but I don't even know if they're on 4K on Paramount Plus. I think they're only in standard.
Because Paramount released some movie that Mark Wahlberg was in, and it was released in both 4K and Blu-ray. It was exclusive to Paramount Plus.
Oh, is it the Time movie where he gets through time or something?
Yeah, some movie that Antoine Fuqua directed.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that one. No.
Infinite, I think, is what it's called.
Okay, now I vaguely remember the title.
I think Paramount Plus.
Yeah, see, there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Black Friday deal right now. And Beavis and Butthead's worth it too. There's like 10 or 12 episodes of that.
Yeah.
So. And the movie. So yeah.
Dude, the movie is so good.
The movie was freaking hilarious.
Great. The show is just as good too.
Dude, I want Paramount to release like a double feature of Beavis and Butthead Do America and Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe on 4K. Like, that's amazing.
I don't even know if Do the Universe was done in 4K because it was only in HD on the thing. And there's some fuck ups in Do the Universe to where they rushed that bitch. Like I noticed, and some other people noticed some ones that I didn't even notice. Like you can see Beavis and Butthead through the ship in the one shot. Like, that's clearly not supposed to be that way. And there was a couple other bits that like Gary with a J. Pop Culture Minefield pointed out to me too. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't even notice that one. He noticed like a bunch of shadows that were off and stuff like that. Like they were literally off of the character.
I think it's because he's like, a freaking artist, so he like
that's what I'm saying. So he noticed it right away. I mean, I should have noticed it. I'm like, I can't even believe I didn't notice that. I was probably laughing or something. But
yeah,
I didn't notice either. I was probably laughing too.
I did notice you could see through the ship, but yeah.
Even if it's a Blu-ray double feature, I'll accept that too. Honestly,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I don't think he did them in 4K. I think they're just done in standard HD. But yeah.
Okay. The at least
Tulsa King's in 4K though.
See, that would be amazing if I could get that on physical.
I really need to check, see if I still have Paramount.
Well, that's what I was saying is that like I have a feeling that it's not too long after the season is done because I just got the offer like a week or two ago in the mail, and that showed what, March, April, something like that.
Yeah,
wasn't it? It was before the summer. I think it was March it dropped. It was either March or April. Either way, so here we are already. You know, it came out in November, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I would think they've been pretty consistent with releasing all their fucking Star Trek crap too.
Yeah.
And Yellowstone and stuff like that. So yeah.
I've heard good things about Yellowstone, but I don't know. I'm not a huge Kevin Costner fan. So
I like him in the right things, like you know, like the Robin Hood bit, right?
Yeah, I like him in Robin Hood.
I could have totally taken somebody else in that though.
Yeah.
Same thing with like the Warren Beatty thing with Dick Tracy. Are they fine in the character? Yeah. Could somebody else have played it better? Yeah.
Yeah. Great movies, good movies, but yeah, they could have had different actors playing them.
Yeah, which is funny because they've got Pierce Brosnan hosting the old making of from 1991 or whatever. It's like, why didn't he play Robin?
Yeah, that would have worked. Or Carrie Ells.
Yeah, or actually, yeah, might as well have.
Yeah.
No,
But,
I mean, I like what they were going. I get why they got Costner. I get what they're going for with it.
Yeah.
And I dug it more this time. And it's kind of the same thing with Roadhouse. It's like, yeah, I needed this testosterone injection.
That's what I said. Like when you go back and watch movies like that, especially with all the shit we're getting today, and you remember maybe you didn't like it at first, but then you see it and you're like, okay, yeah, this is really good compared to a lot of the shit we're getting today, and I really liked it better this time. So yeah.
Boy, oh boy, though, did they give Robin Hood a bunch of shit for the 2 rapey scenes.
Oh yeah.
Actually, there's 3 rapey scenes if you count the director's cut or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember how much of that's in the theatrical cut where he's groping the chick. But like, because you have the one scene where Robin basically says they give girls Holly, or not Holly, mistletoe, so they're easier to fuck, basically. Last I checked, I didn't know that mistletoe was actually an aphrodisiac. I thought it was a fucking poison, but okay.
Yeah, I didn't know it. Yeah. Thought that's why they hung in a pie.
Robin Hood. And then you have the Sheriff of Nottingham groping the one chick when the witch is watching. And then you have the end where Maid Marian's damn near raped by him too, and it's all like on this.
Yeah.
They do it in a very comedic way, and in that I can see why that scene, like even Siskel and Ebert like hated this fucking movie.
Yeah.
But they really dug into that. I'm like, okay, you guys are kind of off base for the rest of this movie, but yeah, I can kind of see that went a little too far because they were
you get it.
kind of playing it a bit too comedic for what was going on there, and it may have been a bit out of place for something like this necessarily, but they were trying to consummate the marriage, so
yeah.
So as forced as he was being, as forceful as he was being, it wasn't as forced into the story as you would think. So yeah,
there you go. But
anyhow, sorry about that.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you guys once again. Thank you guys once again for coming on. Awesome picks tonight. Any final words? I mean, any final words, but in any way, shape, form.
Just one tiny thing. Go see my music videos.
Oh yes, go check out One Tiny Thing. That is hilarious. I haven't watched the Batman one yet, though. And Runner, anything you want to promote?
What do I want to promote? I guess tomorrow I should be on Corporeal Lifeforms channel talking about Gremlins. I'm excited. That's gonna be 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. Greg should be there.
Yeah, I should be there.
Yeah, I'm excited because I hadn't seen Gremlins in a while until last week. And I love that movie so much. It's honestly one of my favorite Christmas movies.
Great flick.
Oh, I'm excited for that. I don't know, because winter break's coming around, I may or may not do more content. I don't know.
Get on the ball on that, man. But
yeah, I got less shit to worry about now.
There you go. But thank you guys, everybody that hung in the chat with us tonight, everybody that watched. Appreciate y'all. Much love to you guys.
One more thing I want to promote. If you want to see my reaction to the Star Wars Holiday Special, watch the replay for Justin Proper's live stream. It was a lot of fun. I could not watch that thing by myself.
That's when you have to watch with some friends. But
dude, that helped a lot because Rookie was on that stream, our good friend Rookie.
Yeah, Rookie.
And I mean, he told me like, yeah, I only got through like 10 minutes of it, and that's it. And we managed to go through that entire thing, and literally, like YouTube started they started like claiming claimed the stream when the animation part showed up. You not like they took like the stream was unavailable for a while.
That happens. You got to be careful on that.
It happened twice, and then when the stream was done, Justin had told me that I think I saw it on Twitter too, but he messaged me as well that YouTube blocked the entire fucking stream. And I'm like, what? And he just told me a few minutes ago from now that it's back up.
Well, there you go. Go check that out.
Yeah, and I told him, like, because I looked through my history and I'm like, yeah, I can watch it. And yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being here. Once again, thank you to everybody in the chat, everybody watching. I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Have a good one. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
How you doing? Bitches leave.